Oh my lord. Pusingan yang ketiga dengan double danger in terms of our roda musibah. Kali ni kita ada ijat daripada Blacklist International. Dipersilakan. Roda musibah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's go. Musibah besar, musibah besar, musibah besar, musibah besar. Musibah yang paling besar dan juga paling comel, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, adalah distraction oleh the one and only Mr. Wagger.
Yes, betul tu.
Dan Mr. Wagger ada seorang penolong.
Ada?
Siapa dia?
Mr. Wagger tu.
Mr. Wagger. Mr. Wagger the second. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you adik Mr. Wagger, Pak Haji.
Round 3.
1, 2. He's arcing with the first ball. Are we gonna Mr. Wagger helping in here as well? Oh! Bola putih to arcing space. Arcing with the opportunity. But water balloon. Mr. Wagger comes in here for the distraction. Pun tak mampu nak tangkap. Are they going to be able? Mr. Wagger. Lemparan yang amat baik. The water balloon from up above. The gods of the water balloon are making sure Arcing does not get anything. 3, 2... What a play! What a distraction!
Mission complete! Mission complete!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, daripada the first 2 rounds, dia dapat 1.
Satu saja. Di sini 1. So, 2 sahaja yang berjaya diperoleh oleh pasukan
31. Alright, there you go. Final round. This time untuk Encik Wagger, ya.
Dia tak sabar lagi untuk memulakan round yang ketiga ini. 1, 2, 3.
Oh! What? The first one, Haji, insane stuff. Oh, he misses it. Okay, tandukkan dia dancing sikit. Ada slide. Oh my lord.
Dia dancing dia dapat.
Setiap kali dia menari baru dia dapat, Haji.
Ya, dia kena teruskan dancing. Sikit lagi dia kena teruskan dancingnya itu. Ini merisaukan kita sekali kerana
the white ball.
3, 2, 1.
Mr. Wagger, what a play.
Apa kata kita mulakan kiraan kita. 1, 2,
we need 6.
3, 4,
boy, Mr. Wagger, Mr.
5. Unfortunately, 5 saja yang berjaya diperoleh oleh Mr. Wagger. So close to beat. Nampaknya
Nampaknya King of Airdrop telah ditewaskan. Mereka nak kongsi 1 point tapi tak boleh.
Mr. Wagger cakap tunggu game yang ketiga.
Memang hari ni Mr. Wagger dah tunjukkan kepada kita macam mana nak conquer airdrop, Haji.
Dia nampak konsisten pada hari ni tapi poin dia 1 mata saja lagi untuk mengatasi barisan player kita. Sayang sekali buat Mr. Wagger. So jangan lupa untuk meneruskan tontonan kita kerana kita ada lagi game yang ketiga.
Tonton pusingan akhir pada 5 Februari dan nantikan ganjaran milestone penonton. Jangan lupa untuk undi ganjaran yang anda mahukan.
Jumpa anda di next episode.
But Cobra will die to the blue zone as Blacklist gets knocked out. Team Princess on the ground. It's 2 versus 1.
In this fight, there's just no stepping forward. Deborah now continuing against Icon. Yun on the ground. Neki shuts down Man. And it looks like it's going to be all over for Icon. But as I say that, Mio out of nowhere drops Tim Queen. Expert, they shut down Man 04 already, and now Exec with a lot of pressure. They are out in the open, but we have to also remember the edge of the current zone held on by Secret Expert. They need to move on now to the center of this circle. Nade coming flying through. Oh!
Where he was. He finds the grenade. And Icon, I don't think had any idea.
Oh,
but a nice grenade. What a sniper with these grenades. Emax cleans him up with the second one, and he runs away, realizing he's got a huge advantage. It's going to be 3-on-3, and he puts himself back into a somewhat sizable advantage.
That's Eman GG right there, and Eman once again getting it all done. New Boys this time knocked down Eman. Oh, hero Eman GG, the one guy, he gets pushed back. Neptune now aggressive. Oh, what a spot held on by Iman. But Neptune, the shotgun turns around. 2 shots, too easy. Vanix down as well. Neptune getting a lot done in here. Looks for Rizal. Is he going to get the third one? Does not get the knock. Smart plays coming out from his opponent. They back away. Vanix doesn't find one inside the time turner. 2 fast knockdown Rizal. Neptune gets the last one. What a play.
Start to do some damage. Epic are starting to make their way. Now they've got the grenades primed. That should be the end. No, he's doing it on top of the roof. My friend, that was not the greatest throw.
We got that on camera, Ziga. We got that. There's no running away from that one.
Masing-masing masih lagi belum mengalah dalam permainan kita. Kedua-dua pasukan berusaha untuk mendapatkan kemenangan. Siapakah di antara mereka peserta ataupun Mr. Wega yang akan memenangi cabaran kali ini?
Anda sedang menonton rancangan permainan Free Fire Challengers Malaysia dan kami host anda, my name is Mustachio AJ bersama dengan Haji Yat, dan untuk menggemburkan episod kepada kali ini, kita ada pasukan B iaitu Geek Fam yang akan berlawan dengan Encik Wega. Jangan lupa untuk mengundi salah satu daripada 5 ganjaran milestone penonton yang bakal anda terima sekiranya para pemain menang.
Untuk kedudukan sekarang ini, Mr. Wega ketinggalan 10 mata di belakang para peserta kita. Pasukan Blacklist berusaha keras nak menang untuk round yang ketiga ini sebenarnya. Apakah perasaan Mr. Wega kita ketika ini? Mr. Wega, silakan. Saya rasa saya boleh baca apa yang dikatakan oleh Mr. Wega tu.
Man of very few words, Haji.
Ya.
Pihak lawan dia hari ni agak bersemangat juga.
Pantai.
Cabaran bagi episod ini adalah The Epic Airdrop. Airdrop amat berharga tetapi sukar diperolehi. Sambut bola oren untuk mengumpul 1 mata dan elak bola putih yang akan menyebabkan 1 mata ditolak.
Pasukan Geek Fam akan menentang Mr. Wega dengan tangannya diikat.
Let the game begin.
Round 1.
Yes! Jauh je.
The teamwork is absolutely solid, Haji. Mereka sedang mencuba.
Hampir di situ.
Tangkapan bola yang amat bagus tetapi
baru satu saja. Hampir. Okey, 2.
2, 3.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Haji. Apa ni, Haji? Terlalu senang pula.
24 mata kedudukan ketika ini semakin jauh meninggalkan Mr. Wega. Tengok macam kurang meyakinkan apa pun kita cakapkan. Good luck lah untuk Mr. Wega.
Absolutely
Kali
good
ini giliran dia. 1, 2, 3. Aduh Mr. Wega. Tunggu Mr. Wega.
Got one. This is amazing. How is this penguin getting it done? Oh! Well, action,
Yeah.
Mr. Wagger with the
Satu
blue
lagi.
eyes. Wagger.
Oh,
Swagger.
3, 2, 1.
Airdrop specialist. Oh my good, Haji.
Ya.
Ni, 1, 2,
Wow.
3.
Wow.
Oh my god, 4,
Wow.
5,
Wow.
6. Apa
Oh.
ni? Solo versus duo pun Mr. Wagger confirm menang.
So menjadikan 16 mata buat Mr. Wagger. Kembali bersama Wheel of Misfortune.
Dan untuk memusing roda musibah kita, kita ada ejen Ali daripada Blacklist International.
Yeah.
Alright. Ali tadi dah kena kan? If you're ready, please. Musibah besar, musibah besar, musibah besar, musibah besar. Oh! Musibah yang amat besar. Alright.
Nice choice, Ali. Nice choice.
Perfect punishment, Ali. Thank you very much, sir. We will call you back in a bit. Okey, musibah yang amat besar, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Kerana balon dia pun agak besar sikit, Haji.
Ya, dan air dia pun akan ditambah.
Ah.
So, kalau kena, kepala dia mungkin boleh pecah dan mereka akan basah kuyup.
Alright, boys.
Alright, I'm ready.
Boys, you ready, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa,
Alright, opportunity.
Oh.
And the battle rages on. Oh, King manages to get one, tetapi tolak satu markah hijau.
Dia tangkap bola
Tangkap
air.
bola putih.
Lima. Oh, dapatnya Akik on fire.
Absolutely,
Oh.
King on fire. Tetapi terkena juga air.
Yang terkena juga ayah. Elok tu handsome sikit. So, kita akan tambah mata mereka 5 lagi.
Alright,
Menjadikan 29. Mr. Wagger, adakah anda dah bersedia?
Woo!
Wow. 1, 2, 3.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe. I know Kung Fu. Show me.
3, 2, 1.
My mind is blown, Haji. Macam mana?
Same with me here. My mind so blown here sini.
King of airdrops, Mr.
Ada
Wagger.
lagi 9.
Oh my lord, ada lagi.
9 mata menjadikan 25. 9 balon yang berjaya diperoleh oleh Mr. Wagger kita untuk round yang kedua ini.
Mr. Wagger, do you have a few words to say? What
Yeah.
words of a champion? I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Oh my lord. Pusingan yang ketiga dengan double danger in terms of our roda musibah. Kali ini kita ada ijat daripada Blacklist International. Dipersilakan. Roda musibah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's go.
Yeah.
Musibah besar, musibah besar, musibah besar,
Oh,
musibah
besar.
musibah yang paling besar dan juga paling comel, ladies
Yep.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, adalah distraction oleh the one and only Mr. Wagger.
Yes, betul tu.
Dan Mr. Wagger ada seorang penolong.
Ada.
Ha, siapa dia?
Mr. Wagger tu.
Mr. Wagger. Mr. Wagger the second. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you adik Mr. Wagger, Pak Haji.
Round 3.
1, 2. He's hacking with the first ball. Are we gonna Mr. Wagger helping in here as well? Oh! Bola putih to Aking space. Aking with the opportunity, but water balloon. Mr. Wagger comes in here for the distraction. Tak pun tak mampu nak tangkap. Are they going to be able? Mr. Wagger, lemparan yang amat baik. The water balloon from up above. The gods of the water balloon are making sure Aking does not get anything. 3, 2. What a play. What a
Mission
distraction.
complete. Mission complete.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Oh.
daripada the first 2 rounds, dia dapat 1.
Satu saja. Di sini satu. So, 2 sahaja yang berjaya diberi oleh pasukan.
31.
Ya.
Alright, there you go. Final round. This
Yeah.
time untuk Encik Wagger ya.
Dia tak sabar lagi untuk memulakan round yang ketiga ini. 1, 2.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Free Fire Challenger Malaysia Season 1. This is the final week of the group stage, and boy, oh boy, Husky, as you can see, he is my wonderful co-caster. I'm so excited, I couldn't even hold my thoughts back, because not only are we going to be finding out very soon our 12 teams that are going to be making it up to playoffs, but I suspect this week is going to be the most intense for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, we are also going to see if there will be any upsets that will happen at the bottom of the standing, because this is less of the race to top 12 and more of the race of maintaining in that top 12. And I have my eyes on a couple of squads from last week, and I think they will still be on my radar. AKO Steady Squad being one of it. I think they have been a pretty hot topic across 3 weeks. They've only gotten 1 booyah, and the worst case of all is that they are sitting in 11th place with 185 points. And Metrics is in 12th place with 167 as of the end of week 3. And AKO Steady Squad, with all of these star-studded players, aren't really performing up to expectations. So that's going to be a team that most fans will be keeping their eye on to see if they will make it to the grand finals.
Yeah, and I think some of these bottom teams as well, we also have to keep our eyes on them as well, because this is the final week where we could potentially see some really crazy stuff pop out, right? Like, especially if you're a team that is on the verge of being eliminated, or a team that is on the verge of qualifying, as you've already mentioned. You really need to pull out all the stops, especially when you really want to make it to the playoffs, because that's where the big money is at. Speaking of money, let's take a look at the prize pool that we're working with, Husky.
Yeah, and we have a lot of prize, well, in terms of the sum of the prize pool given away. But we'll start with the league stage first. If the team ends up in first place by the end of this week, they get to walk away with 7,500 ringgit, down to 5,000 for second, 2.5k for third place, 2,000 for fourth and 5, 1,500 for 6th place, 1,250 for 7th and 8th, 1,000 for 9th place to 12th place, 750 for 13 to 14, 500 for 15 and 16, and the bottom 2 walks away with at least 250 ringgit.
Yeah, so all the teams competing, they're going to at least earn something for participating in the league, but something we have to consider for a lot of these teams, right? When you play in esports, you want to make this a full-time career, so it makes sense to try and climb this league stage as much as possible. I mean, if you want to cruise in 12th place, be my guest, but you know, you've got to make that money somewhere. Now, moving on to the next stage, this is what the teams are playing for. This is the grand final, and this is where the grand prize is at. First place, whoever manages to top all the other teams in the grand final is going to get their hands on 45,000 ringgit, which is essentially the lion's share of the tournament prize pool. If you come in second, you're going to get 20,000, which it's fine, but 45,000, Husky, that is such a big difference between first and second.
Yeah, 25,000 ringgit, lesser than the first place. And theoretically, you can finish 12th place in the league stage, come into the grand finals, have a blast.
And just win.
Yeah, and just win the whole thing and just earn more than anyone else. But of course, there is always a share of the prize pool for everyone. It just comes down to where those teams end up on by the end of the league stage and the grand finals. Even if the teams finish the bottom 2 for the grand finals, they still get 500 ringgit as kind of a consolation prize.
Yeah, we've seen this in other tournaments as well, where some teams will just, maybe they don't do so well during the league stage, but then grand finals like, oh, I guess we win. I guess we just take first place, it doesn't matter that we came last during the league stage. Yeah. All right, speaking of the point system, now this is what the teams are going to be using to calculate their placement points for today and their kill points. So in terms of placement points, if you manage to get the booyah, you'll be securing yourself a beautiful 12 points. Second place will get you 9 points, third will get you 8, fourth will get you 7 points, fifth will get you 6 points, sixth will get you 5 points, seventh will get you 4, 8 will get 3, 9 will get 2, 10th will get a single point, and if you manage to land as the last 2 teams in your match, you're going to get absolutely nothing. But you can still get extra points even if you come last, second last, you can get points through kills. Every kill is going to land you a point, and those kill points, they matter now.
Yeah, and we have seen a lot of scenarios where a team, they don't really get the booyah, they finish second, third, sometimes even fourth place, but they were able to accumulate a large number of kills, and by the end of the round, the kill points that they accumulated was able to help them kind of surpass the teams who got the booyah. So that's something that these teams always have to keep in mind of. But let's take a look at the groupings for this week. Again, the group shuffle happened on the start of week 3, so this is the new shuffle since last week. For Group A, we have Blacklist International, Freedom Rumble, Icon, No Escape Umbrella, Sorry Roar, and Toadup, which if you guys were wondering, wait, we didn't see Toadup before.
Toadup?
They have just acquired Argon MY, so this is the new Argon MY. Toadup, welcome to Free Fire. For Group B, Devora, EWG, Geek Fam, New Gek, Secret Expert, and Team Princess. And of course, to round up the roster for Group C, you have Duo Barade, AKO Steady Squad, Epic, Hero, Metrics, and MND Diehard.
I love seeing new orgs jump in and pick up these teams, right? Because now you're looking at these teams, not only are they official esports teams, not to say that if you're not sponsored, you're not official, you are still an esports professional, but being picked up by an org, that is such a sense of relief in terms of the financial department or some sort of backup, right? Because orgs, they come in, they help provide the training rooms, they give you support so that you're able to focus on playing Free Fire, in this case for Toadup, the new Toadup, compared to some of the other teams that might have to work on the side or they have to do these other things to be able to support this esports career. So if anything, congratulations to the old Argon MY. I'm really happy for them that they got picked up by someone such as Toadup, of all things. That's such a big org in Malaysia.
Yeah, and I think for Toadup, they also struck gold because Argon MY, they are at their prime in FFCM, currently sitting in second place, and they only need a couple of good games to have a possibility to overcome Geek Fam. But of course, this will be the map rotation for the first day of the final week. We have Bermuda and Kalahari. Bermuda will always start off first, then we will rotate in between games. Bermuda first, Kalahari next, and all the way until the end of the day. For the first 2 matches, it will be Group A versus Group B. For match 3 and 4, Group B will take on Group C, and for match 5 and 6, it will be Group A versus Group C, and these are the team to watch: Icon, Team Princess, and of course, Toadup.
If anything, I think I'm going to have my eyes on Team Princess because after their performance from last week, I was super impressed. I mean, not to say that they weren't good coming in originally, but it was just their performance last week. They really stood out. And the same with Icon. I mean, both of these teams, they were able to just secure so many points off of just 2 play days. It was very impressive.
And especially some of these teams are made out of veterans who have played in more than one iteration of a Free Fire professional league. For Icon, Yun is one of those household names. Team Princess, like you said, when they came in, they started the league on a pretty decent note, but throughout those weeks, they were able to put on more and more numbers. And now they currently sit in 4th place with Icon in 5th, and of course Toadup in 2nd. And people might be wondering, wait, where's Geek Fam or Freedom Rumble? Don't worry, these guys are already good enough, so they can definitely hold their ground. In fact, we're looking at the top 5 teams, in the teams to watch. For Icon, though, aside from Yun, one of my go-to players is definitely Mios. He has always been able to prevail in those clutch situations. So he is the guy that needs to be kept an eye on. But there are certain circumstances where if Mios gets taken out early on or he has a bad day, then Icon will not perform as well as we wanted them to. For Team Princess, Alpha XR has always been the leader of the pack. But recently in week 3, we started to see Lux GX also step up his game. So now it's great to see that Team Princess has more than one guy that they could rely on when the chips are all down.
So for people that are tuning into the broadcast, if you weren't able to catch any of the matches in the previous weeks, these are going to be some heavy hitters coming into this week. But I have a feeling we're going to be seeing some extra dark horses. It's not just going to be the Icon, Team Princess, and Toadup show today. I think we're going to be seeing some of these teams that are sitting in the middle of the pack and even teams towards the bottom of the bracket really and try and get those points this week, because for some teams, it's all about placement. They're trying to make top 12. For other teams, it's a matter of just trying to finish as high as possible because you've already qualified. The only thing you have left to really play for is that money. And every time you go up that leaderboard, it's a big jump for these teams.
Yeah, and of course, that is more of the teams in the front, right? But when we talk about the teams who are currently sitting on the second page of the leaderboard, I mentioned earlier on, there's AKO Steady Squad, there's Metrics. We also
Big
saw
names.
Duo Barade put on some pretty good showing in week number 3, and they were able to get a couple of decent placements for themselves, and they put themselves pretty close to Metrics as well. But there has always been a team that sometimes they show up, but sometimes they get a really bad draw and they completely blow the round, and that is EWG and New Gang. These two teams feel like a dice roll every now and then. EWG are in a more safer position because they are in 10th place, but for New Gang, these guys are in 15th place. So there's a lot of work for them to do in the coming 2 days.
Yeah, I think some of these teams, they've got a lot of work ahead of them, but if you put the work in, it might eventually pay off. But I want to see some crazy stuff today because it's the last week. Yes, it's not playoffs. Everyone wants the grand finals. We're going to see some crazy stuff then. But what are we going to be seeing today that's going to propel these teams into that top 12? That's the most important thing. Our first map of the day, it's going to be Bermuda. Let's jump right in. It's going to be groups A versus B. And Husky, just going off of what we saw last week, A and B are extremely competitive groups. Not to throw any shade to C, but I just feel this combination is terrifying.
Yeah, and it's also the group pairing that we saw GigFam really showed up huge, and we also saw teams like Blacklist International kind of struggle a bit when they get paired up against Group B. And we'll see if that is going to persist into the final week of FFCM. I definitely would want to also see how, Todak's acquisition of Argon MY is going to change how these players approach the league, because right now there has to be some sort of pressure on the shoulders of these players, right? You're playing under an official organization who has a very big name across the industry, and now you have to uphold that reputation and carry forth the name of Todak. So we'll see if this is going to potentially improve the performance of the Todak squad. But to kick things off, we have Sorry Roar spotting out EWG right off the bat.
Yeah, we actually saw a couple teams sort of drop down close by to some other teams. Now, of course, they do have this information. They would have likely seen these other teams drop off before they went their separate ways, but it's Bermuda. I'm expecting a lot of action early on, Husky, because this is a map that everyone is familiar with, and if you're not comfortable in Bermuda, I don't know if you're playing Free Fire.
Yeah, Bermuda is... Well, it's definitely not my personal favorite map, but you have to have played it, right? It's the staple.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like going home for the holidays, and it's just like, the street, where everything is, you understand this place 100%. Although, okay, Husky, if you can see on the map right now, we could be seeing... Ooh, there it is. There's the first drop.
That's first blood.
It's a pretty big one.
They were the one who got shot early on by Sorry Roar, but they ended up finding the first blood instead. So that's good news for EWG and not so good of a news for No Escape Umbrella being caught out this early on. But it's pretty rare that you see a team kind of sticking together in a common area and somehow one of the members still get picked off. And in this case, it's Cape Town, pretty far east of the map. So having an intruder or a secondary squad is pretty uncommon. No Escape Umbrella got a very rude surprise.
Yeah, I feel like because this is just such a... It's, as you said, it's so far out. It seems like he just wasn't expecting anyone to go there, right? It's like you wouldn't expect anyone to be out in the middle of nowhere. You would think it's just your team. You'll be able to sort of think it through, try and figure out where you want to go. But I guess deep in thought, rest in peace.
Sometimes it does happen, I think there is always going to be one or two teams that has these kind of openings where they just have one member who gets picked off. But for No Escape Umbrella, they are also a team that sometimes have a really good game, and other times they just fall apart. And I've been spending some time thinking like what is going to help these teams improve their gameplay, and I think it all starts with how they manage that first few minutes of the game. Where do you want to drop, and what are the risks that you are willing to take? in this case, for No Escape Umbrella, I would classify it as unfortunate incident because they definitely did not expect EWG to be nearby. But other times, it can be avoided when you play in pairs. And we see teams like GeekFam do that a lot. They always send their members out in a 2x2 formation so that they always have a secondary member to act as a backup in case an ambush happens.
I mean, personally, I always have a bit of a heart attack when I see teams split up as well, because there's always advantages and disadvantages too when you stick together and when you split up. Sticking together, you are always going to have the backup of 3 other teammates. It's a very solid way to play, I suppose. I mean, this is how most teams play anyway. It's the whole splitting up is when things can get a little bit shaky, but under the right circumstances, and if you have the information, you can destroy teams because they cannot pinpoint where your whole team is. So it's worked so far for GeekFam. I do like the 2-2 because at least you have someone to back you up if anything goes haywire, but it absolutely can go to hell if those 2 members get taken out and then you only have the other 2 left.
And I just realized that Monito from EWG is still hanging around Cape Town where they got the first blood on No Escape Umbrella. So this is very interesting because Monito is completely alone. But for New Gang, they have the full squad with them. Unfortunately, the first team that is shooting at them is going to be Blacklist International. And you can see that for New Gang, they have no intention of fighting Blacklist International, and they are just running around like headless chickens. Mirror will find a stray one right out in the open, and that will be Drax. Taken out, no chance of survival, and Blacklist International now smell blood in the water. They are not going to let New Gang get away. But other than Blacklist International, there's Todak on the other side of the bridge. New Gang thought that they are safe, and Blacklist International also thought that there's only one team, but Afik will deny that. And right through the skull of Miro, and that will be an instant death. New Gang also gets picked up by the members of Toda. This is a buffet for TDK, and they will take out New Gang and get 3 points for themselves.
Oh, that was glorious, but also great positioning for Todak. Like, essentially, Blacklist herded New Gang into Todak, and Todak were able to get those 3 kills themselves. And I think especially just getting that pick off onto Miral is huge because you've eliminated a massive piece to Blacklist's roster.
And a big piece of Icon has also been ripped away by Orin from GeekFam, and that's Mios. One of the star players that we have been keeping an eye on the side of Icon has now been eliminated very early on into the round. They still have Yun with them, but man, he's running out into the open and right into the hands of Man04, who is now locked in a head-to-head combat. This is the Wild West by the seaside, but it seems like Man is losing this fight, and he indeed has lost. Man04, he has not really lost much duels throughout the entire league stage, and Man04 will be another victim. But Vickery will be the one who picks it up. GeekFam backs 2 points.
Wow, and this is just classic Bermuda. You get fighting right from the get-go, and we're already down to 37 players. And EWG Tua is actually all alone here, and it looks like he might be taken out. He's up against 4 players. Unfortunately, I don't see him being able to grab a kill as well, but maybe he can. Maybe? No. There we go. EWG going to be finishing in 11th place, eliminated by Sorry Raw.
And you know the saying of the past always catches up, and that just happened to EWG. They ran away from Sorry Roar, they ended up getting wiped out by Sorry Roar. But they did sustain heavy damage before then. They were the one who got a first blood on No Escape Umbrella. Not really sure where the other 2 members, where the 3 members of that team got wiped out before we saw that the final member getting eliminated by Sorry Roar, but nonetheless, Freedom Rumble now in the vicinity of Secret Expert. We're seeing now with the nade in hand, but this lob is not going to land, unfortunately. No connections found by Secret Expert so far. Freedom Rumble, not shy to take on any sort of combat, will now try to poise himself in a better position. Neptune will go out onto the second floor to try to get a better vantage point to see if he can catch some members of Secret Expert off guard. And Taken, though, will be the first one to get the frag in. Too fast, GG is already on the ground. And Clouds, he's going to be hiding in the corner, but decides to not hold the angle. The glue wall is already in place. They have already been infiltrated by Secret Expert as Taken continues to provide those suppressive fires from afar. The sniper of Secret Expert shall not hold back, but if Noodle will be shot down as Clouds takes it. Neptune fights the second. They are traced left, right, and center, but Taken cannot find an angle to provide any more support, and the rest of Secret Expert will be dispatched by Freedom Rumble. That will be 3 dead, and Taken will have to run away with his tails between his legs.
Oh, that was such a big hit for Secret Expert. So I could completely see what they wanted to do, right? I mean, Taken was in a really good position to try and provide support from the rooftop, but the fight wasn't favorable for him. He was just so far away, and there's so many buildings in the way as well that he wasn't able to get any free line of sight onto those Freedom Rumble players. So for Freedom Rumble, you just delete the rest of the team, right? I think they also had information, like they knew that somebody was on the other side of those compounds. So they just realized that, okay, let's just overwhelm them with 3. We have all these buildings to work with. Let's just rush them. And it absolutely worked. So for Secret Expert, now it's just going to be down to Taken to try and get placement points. And maybe he can try and get a couple of snipes. But even then, it's going to be a tough ask.
And the worst case was that they ended up not eliminating anyone from Freedom Rumble, right? The first guy who went down was Too Fast GG, but Freedom Rumble somehow were able to mount that successful rescue operation and got him back up and ended up getting 3 points for themselves. So Secret Expert would be kicking themselves pretty hard after that sequence of event. But we've seen Taken do the impossible. His mortal enemy has always been Mano4 from Geek Fam. We saw that a couple of times where the last man standing was him and Mano4, and Mano4 has always won that 1v1. So if it's not Mano4, Taken might have a better chance. But we hear some vehicles roaring.
I'm afraid. I was watching the map and I saw Geek Fam in the northwest. I think it's heading towards, not Todak, I think it's Team Princess. So we could be seeing a really big fight happening on the map very soon.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, Geek Fam in last week, day number 2 of week 3, they on the second half of the night they didn't really perform as well as they did in the first 2 games, and that was a byproduct of Geek Fam having to go up against Group C, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see if Team Princess can stand up to them. We've seen Team Princess pull out some miraculous plays even against the top teams. Blacklist International early on, they were able to get 2 members of EWG, but they ended up losing Miro to Todak, so that was slightly unfortunate. You can see that Geek Fam, they have 3 kills in the back. They somehow was able to kind of cross by a secondary team without being spotted. And in fact, they're beelining towards Freedom Rumble, and Icon dodging a bullet right there. But Secret Expert, you can see Taken on the south side, hiding just right beside the freeway. He should have some info of where Geek Fam is, but Geek Fam is on the higher ground, so this could be pretty dangerous for Taken.
Actually, the safest play for him would be hoping that Geek Fam engage into Freedom Rumble, because then at least Taken, he might be able to get a couple of just really long snipes. I think that's the safest play for him. If you want to try and go for those kills on top of placements, I think that's probably the best course of action for him. But it's going to be difficult now here. Oh, Todak.
Exec just now saw one of the members of Freedom Rumble do a bunny hop into the building, so that's going to confirm Geek Fam's information of where Freedom Rumble is. But Todak finds himself staring right across the terrain as Sorry Roar. So far, Todak with 3 kills in the back are looking pretty darn good. They have control of the circle. So Sorry Roar are trying to make the long way to try and get to safety, but it will not be an easy journey because Afik has his crosshairs lined up on the heads of these members of Sorry Roar. And all he needs is a couple of good tabs and he might be able to get a knock. And John, he's trying to outrun those rifle bullets. And so far, he has been able to dodge those high caliber ammunition. The Spark is actually getting rushed at as well. John somehow making his way to rejoin his team. It's going to be a full 4 versus 4. Sparks will be the first point of contact as Todak slowly backs off, using these containers as cover. And Sorry Raw will also try to navigate themselves around this maze of metal. See if they can get a couple of good swings towards the corner because Spark, he is in a prime position to ambush the likes of Shark, and Shark's gonna run past him straight into his crosshair, and that's how Sparks gets the first knock. Shark is on the ground, backup is nowhere near. Amira is also gonna be knocked down as well. Todak finds 2 quick kills, and it seems like the rest of Sorry Raw will follow suit pretty soon. Donkey peeks in from the right side to face off Pedro, but he will also lose his engagement, and guess what, Danley? The last survivor is John. A very poetic ending, but not the one that Sorry Raw is looking for, and Todak should be able to clean up shop. 4 kills into the bag, and Todak now is going to have 7 points under their belt.
That's so unfortunate for Sorry Raw, but they really just didn't have any options, right? Trying to go into that circle as well. And this is also one of the more painful circles. They can't just linger on the outside of the zone. So for Todak, I mean, this was more or less easy pickings. They had the terrain advantage. They had the compound on their side. It was up to Sorry Raw to be able to try and reposition, maybe try and go for a backstab, but I think this is just a case of it was just very unfortunate pathing. They just didn't have the information to know that Todak was going to be there. Anyways, we have our next circle already pinpointed, and as you can see, these teams, they are trying to position themselves quite nicely. Taken is just on the edge, and Geek Fam are currently preventing some of these teams from coming in, and that's the same with Freedom Rumble, also trying to block in another team from coming in. But as you can see down the bottom of the map there, we have Blacklist International. They hear all of this, and I would not be surprised if they actually wanted to try and stick their nose into a business that's not theirs.
Yeah, Freedom Rumble already finding 2 kills onto the members of Devora, and there is no chance for Ash to get out of that. Meanwhile, on the other side, you talk about Blacklist hearing all this commotion, but they also have issues of their own, and that would be Geek Fam. In fact, Geek Fam also found Todak in their crosshairs as well, as we have 2 different fights happening. A good grenade launcher shot from Too Fast, and he will be able to knock down JimQuest. The rest of Devora are way too far away. Neki is on that high ground. They want to provide some assistance, but I don't think that revive is going to come true, so Devora might have to just work with Neki and Cyber for the rest of the round, because JimQuest will be finally finished off by that grenade launcher from Too Fast GG. Freedom Rumble with 5 points in the bag as Icon Flame finally gets snuffed out by Spark with that shotgun. Geek Fam hears all of that.
Oh, Todak.
They were able to take out a member of Todak early on, so let's see if Todak can respond in any way. Exact has a good position, and Chill will be sprayed down by the SMG of Man 04. That will be 2 dead for Todak. Spark is hiding in the watchtower, but Exact knows where it is. His spidey senses are tingling. Right through the helmet is that bullet, and Spark
good.
will be knocked down. Todak have to scramble to safety because 3 of their members have already been taken out.
Gosh, that is terrifying to watch if you're a Todak fan. I mean, did you see Geek Fam? Like, as soon as they saw movement, they just hightailed to their prey. They just said, alright guys, we gotta go, grab these kills, and so far the team's looking fantastic. They're sitting on 7 kills, they have all 4 members alive. But now they need to get into the circle safely. And so far, as we can see on the map, we've got Team Princess. They are positioned very nicely on top of the mountain. They've got cover to work with the side of that cliff. They could potentially get that kill onto Pedro. He is the last remaining member on Todak. But, almost getting an elimination there onto Alpha XR. So it looks like Team Princess, they're going to be occupied for now. And it looks like Geek Fam, they're going to be rotating over to the eastern side of the circle now.
This is going to make the life of Team Princess way easier. They don't have to deal with a secondary party. And of course, Pedro trying to be a...
Hey, excuse me, it's not just a secondary team, it's Geek Fam, okay? If it was any other team, then maybe I would agree with you, but this is Geek Fam, so it's pretty good.
And Orin proved that they are a threat for sure. Neptune's already out. Vegeta somehow finds a long one onto Cobra, as it will be a 3-way fight on the eastern side of the map, as Team Princess finally will be able to at least snuff out Todak. I hope. It seems like Todak is still in the game. Freedom Rumble will be able to get the revive up, and there we go. Pedro down Jimmy Nyo. But Team Princess have already effectively taken out Todak. They will be able to get this revive out. And we are down to the last 4 teams. Team Princess only has 1 kill, but they also have control of the circle, and the rest of the squad will now have to kind of make their way towards Team Princess, but it will be a tough one. You have Geek Fam on the southern side, Blacklist International and Freedom Rumble are locking horns right now on the eastern side of the map, and it seems like it is going to be pretty hard right here, because Freedom Rumble, they're taking their shots, but Man 04 also finds a couple of one onto Phoenix. Blacklist International has 2 teams that they need to deal with, and it is just way too much, because Too Fast GG will put the final nail in the coffin and knock out Blacklist International.
And it looks like we're now down to our final 3 teams, 11 players remaining. And although Team Princess, they do have control of this circle, I don't think, I cannot say with certainty that they are actually in a very comfortable position, right? Because this circle is also on the slope of a mountain. So this is not 100% safe.
Yeah, here comes Geek Fam. They're gonna run up the mountain. A lot of nades are being thrown by the members of Team Princess. They're retreating into this final compound. This is the last stand for Team Princess, and they were able to get a couple of kills. Geek Fam effectively wiped out. Can Freedom Rumble turn the tables around? Team Princess are down to 3, but Freedom Rumble only has 2 members left to work with, and they are on the low ground. Those blue walls are making it pretty hard for Freedom Rumble to find any line of sight.
Vegeta.
And Lux GX, he is just so brazenly standing out in the open because he knows he's gonna land these shots. Vegeta hiding behind the blue wall. His back's is against that blue zone, and Jimmy No will just go for the white swing. Doesn't land the shot just yet, but does have the glue walls to work with. He just gets knocked out by Cloud. Jimmy No has to get the knock onto Vegeta, and he will find that. So Freedom Rumble will be down to just one member. Cloud will turn the corner. He's tanking the blue zone. Jimmy No gets knocked. 1 versus 1. Lux GX down to 50. Cloud, can he get the touch down? There's the duel protecting him. But at the last minute shot from Lux GS, the 180-degree turn has worked out, and Team Princess will get the first booyah of the night.
Oh, that was a very hairy late game. I actually thought for a minute there that Freedom Rumble was going to be able to get that elimination onto Team Princess because they weren't able to immediately delete Vegeta, right? I think Vegeta, he did a fantastic job of trying to buy time for his teammate to try, at least for Clown, to try and get that cleanup, but luckily for Team Princess, you know, they were the ones that were king of the hills, they were defending that circle, and they did a fantastic job. They get the booyah. What a great way to start off the weekend. I mean, first map of the day, first booyah as well, and the team looked great doing it.
Yeah, and that was the team that we all agreed are a force to be reckoned with, and you know, they were the team to watch at the start of the broadcast. And at the same time, we also kind of talked about how they now have a dynamic duo. It's not just Alpha XR, there's Lux GZ as well, and he has been able to pull out the clutch at the last minute. But Freedom Rumble came really close. I mean, Klaus almost became the hero for the team, but it was just not meant to be for game number 1. Team Princess, they got the booyah, but it was a pretty slow round for them, right? They only started racking up kills towards the tail end of the round, whereas Freedom Rumble, they have been doing that since the mid-game. So we'll see if the kill points that Freedom Rumble racked up will be enough to surpass Team Princess's total points. But either way, for Team Princess, it's definitely good news because they are trying to catch up to Freedom Rumble. And before the start of this round, Freedom Rumble is sitting at 233 points. Team Princess was sitting at 231, so this is going to be pretty close.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing who's actually going to be topping the leaderboard at the end of the day. I do feel like it's probably going to lean towards Team Princess, but I mean, I could be wrong. I'm just really impressed at the fact that Team Princess are able to still carry their performance from last week into this week, because sometimes when you see teams performing, it's either a good day or a bad day. You don't really get an in-between unless you're talking about the very, very best teams in the world, right? And for me, I'm still sort of trying to figure out, okay, where is Team Princess in terms of a power ranking in the region? And they're really quickly turning into a favorite of mine. They have a very good approach when it comes to a late game. I love the way that they approach these fights. I'm just trying to figure out, how would I describe this? They're really like wolves, right? They corner their prey. They don't really stick around in a little ball and potentially can get caught out together. They'll find the prey. They'll have players at all angles able to cover everybody's back so that they know, okay, who's coming where? Where's this action coming from? Can we try and go for this kill? It's just a really, really great team to watch. And to see them just dismantle Geek Fam as well, I think that was good.
Yeah, and there are very less teams that play a very methodical game of Free Fire, right? Geek Fan being obviously one of those teams that does that. But we are seeing signs of that on Freedom Rumble as well. This will be the highlights for round number 1. We got some pretty sick shots from some of these players. In fact, Afik is one of them from Todak, being able to snipe Miro when Blacklist International acted as a pseudo shepherd, herding New Gang into the clutches of Todak. And of course, we saw EWG meet their early demise, and Geek Fam getting a couple of free kills along the way as well. But this is probably the most heartbreaking moment in the entirety of the round. Secret Expert going for the rush onto Freedom Rumble, even getting a knocked in the beginning, but ended up losing 3 members instead.
Yeah, that one was just really unfortunate. I mean, overall, I think it was just they weren't able to really utilize the terrain like they wanted to. And we saw that, right? Taken wanted to go and play long range, but Freedom Rumble just play short range.
Yeah, and that's what Freedom Rumble has always been traditionally good at. Short range fights, close range combat. That's something that Freedom Rumble is known for. It has been their strength and also their greatest weakness. This is another unfortunate event. Sorry Raw getting completely cornered by Todak. And we saw Todak, they were able to have a pretty good game until the sequence where Geek Fam caught them with their pants down, and there was nothing that Todak could have done. Pedro tried to be sneaky, but Team Princess just had too much numbers for them to deal with. And of course, towards the final moments of the round, Freedom Rumble against Team Princess, it was pretty close, and Klaus almost made it, but luck with this 180. Just watch this. Perfectly done onto the skull of onto the
Ooh.
skull's clowns, and gonna be the round
Husky.
standings.
I was okay. I was expecting it to be close, but I didn't realize how close Geek Fam were to actually being able to clutch out that first place. But Team Princess, they got the booyah, also able to sit in first place with 18 points. In second place, we have Geek Fam and Freedom Rumble, 17 points apiece, followed by Toadag. Just looking at the rankings, you can see that all the kills are very top heavy, right? A lot of the kills went to the top ranking teams. This was a very, I want to consider this game a bit of a drought for some of these teams, especially the ones that need points.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for teams like New Gang, EWG, and No Escape Umbrella. These guys were eliminated pretty early on, and most of them got caught out in the open. But Geek Fam, this is kind of Geek Fam in their natural habitat, right? Even when they don't get the booyah, they still ended up racking insane amount of kills, sometimes even hitting double digits. And this game is no exception. They have 9 kills. They ended up in 3rd place, but they still got 17 points. That effectively puts them in the same boat as Freedom Rumble. And just by calculation, this is good news for Geek Fam because they are pulling even ahead, even farther away from Toadag, who is currently in 2nd place. And Team Princess is now 1 more point closer to tying up with Freedom Rumble in the overall standings.
Yeah. Actually, you know what team I'm a little bit surprised about this round? It's actually Blacklist International, because at the end of the day, they placed really high, but they only got 2 kills. I'm so used to seeing Blacklist being one of the aggressive teams, right? One of the teams that are the aggressors, that presses the issue for a lot of these smaller teams and are able to snap up kills in the process, but it seems like, I'm not sure if they maybe wanted to focus on placements today or if they just weren't able to find any openings for themselves. It's very odd.
Feels like we've seen this iteration of Blacklist before, right? Towards the end of the group stage, they somehow feel like they are falling off. They're not getting as much points as we've wanted them to. But come grand finals, bam, suddenly Blacklist shoots up to the top. And I hope that's going to be the case for FFCM. The competition has been elevated, by tenfold. But Blacklist International were caught in multiple situations where they didn't really have the clearest of line of sight to find kills, but at the same time, they also found themselves contested. The first one being New Gang. They found 1 kill onto New Gang and they ended up losing 1. And afterwards, towards the tail end, on the east side of the map, we saw Freedom Rumble taking on Devora, and Blacklist International could have been able to stick their hand in the cookie jar if not for Geek Fam interrupting the party. So that was also pretty rough for Blacklist International. But they are traditionally known to be a slower team. They take time to warm up. So hopefully game 2 will be a game that we see Blacklist International show up because it's Kalahari. It's one of their favorite maps.
Indeed. And I know a lot of teams also struggle on Kalahari because the general playstyle for Kalahari is just so vastly different to Bermuda. It's a bigger map. You also have to worry about the vertical spaces that people can grapple up to, and you can get some really interesting places, right? So especially for this week, I'm very interested to see how some of these teams are going to be jumping into Kalahari. Speaking of jumping, we're going to jump into this map right now. Kalahari, it's our final game for Group A versus B for today. Don't worry, we're going to see these guys play against each other again tomorrow, but for today, last map, I'm expecting to see a little bit of action today on Kalahari, because generally speaking, Kalahari is a pretty slow map.
Yeah, and I think over time, we have seen teams getting a bit more creative on Kalahari. We saw some teams like to play underneath those big structures under refinery, and we saw that last week, right? That was actually, that fooled us, right? The observers were trying to hint that 2 guys were stacked together, and I was just like, wait, there are 2 guys? I saw 1 guy. Where was the other guy?
I mean, I was really impressed and I was entertained. I think the viewers last week were entertained as well, so maybe we'll see it again today. Who knows? It's down to the teams. But speaking of teams, it looks like everyone has safely landed at their final destination, and we are not going to be seeing any teams contest at their drop points. So I think we're going to be in for a little bit of a slower game today, Husky.
Thank goodness. I think Kalahari is one of those.
Wow. I was expecting you to be like, oh, dang it, I wanted to see some action.
Nah, I've seen enough. Because Kalahari has always been the map where some teams would somehow hot drop a zone and ended up having to fight a 50-50 war and lose the entire team. We've seen that not just in FFCM, but even FFAC, there's MCP, FFMC, all of these tournaments that we've been a part of, is always Kalahari that has the highest rate of this happening. So for once, we are not seeing that being the occurrence, and it's a bit out of the norm. And it might be a bit disappointing that we're not seeing early kills, but for me, I'm down for something new. At least some of
party
these teams
pooper mode.
can live longer.
Yeah, right. Anyway, speaking
yeah.
of, I guess at least everyone's going to be jumping into these fights somewhat equipped, right? Because if you're dropping on top of other teams, you're only going to be partially equipped, or heck, at times if you're really unlucky, I mean, you don't even come out with a gun. And that's probably the absolute worst start to have, especially when you're jumping into one of these games of Free Fire, because it's like, okay, if you don't have a gun, how are you supposed to eliminate anybody? Like, are you just gonna hide in a corner until someone comes by? Maybe you've got one grenade, fingers crossed, I hope I get a kill with this, I can take their stuff, at least I can start this game like everyone else, not play with like a 100% handicap.
Yeah. On Kalahari, you just feel so helpless, right? If you somehow end up with no gun, there's nothing you can do. Like, even in areas like, let's say ruins, sure, there are a couple of walls you can hide behind, but other than that, where else can you go? They can just flush you out by running at you. So it does make you feel pretty naked on Kalahari if you end up with nothing and there's an enemy team nearby. But we are seeing Icon. They are starting off well. We saw them get pretty decent equipments, and Devora, they are already rotating. We also caught a glimpse of Todak on the radar just now, dropping on the far west side. They are very spread out, but since there are no teams near them, they should be able to gather a lot of supplies before the fight starts off.
I mean, there's a lot of loot for these teams, right? Since no one's fighting anyway. But so far it seems like we might be seeing Spark playing as this scout for the team, just trying to see if maybe he can catch any of these teams running from building to building. Because I think, especially after last round, Todek really needs to put the pedal to the metal if they want to try and push their placement up. Because, yeah, I mean, they did okay last round, but I think the team, especially some of the fans as well, right? We know how good Todak is. I think some people would be expecting more, but speaking of expecting more, we could be seeing some action here. Husky already our first drop onto Jimmy Nia.
And that was the team who got the booyah in round 1. Team Princess now having to face off against Sorry Roar. Sorry Roar, they are actually playing on the low ground around shrines. So Team Princess, they should be able to get Jimmy Nia back up without any problem. And Sorry Roar, if they want to contest Team Princess, they have to really, make the long way around the corner. And it is just not an easy journey. Not when LuxGZ has his eyesight on one of the members on side of Sorry Roar. John getting pumped full of shotgun lead, and he might just go down. The time turner will not protect him because that belongs to Ejester, and that will be John getting taken now. They blow through that glue wall. Alpha XR finds Shark. Donkey gets sniped by LuxGZ as well, and I think this is the downfall of Sorry Roar. They tried to take a fight that they had no way of winning. There was no way that they can win this. It's definitely a very weird decision from Sorry Roar. Right? You get the knock, maybe it's time to back up. Those high ground pushes are so hard, especially when you just started out the game with no supplies. And guess what? That last guy is running straight into Blacklist International. LuxGZ finds an insane shot onto Cobra. That is going to distract Blacklist for a while, but we'll see if the last member of Sorry Roar can survive this. I don't think he has anywhere to go.
Well, it looks like he's actually going to be able to zip on out of there. But I think I have to agree with you, Husky. I mean, that was really just such a ballsy move to come out of Sorry Roar, because it's like, you don't even have a vehicle to guarantee all 4 members are going to be able to rush into Team Princess. So what are the chances of 2 players being able to eliminate 4? Because clearly by the time they get up there, I mean, they would have been able to pick up that member on Team Princess. So what would have been the overall goal of rushing up with 2 players and having the remaining players on the low ground? Like, how do you provide any support from the low ground?
It's one of those
very
rounds.
Bizarre.
It's one of those rounds where you look at it and your reaction would be, what did you expect out of that? I think that's something that Sorry Roar didn't really put too much thought in, I suppose. Geek Fam, they just lost Orin, so that's pretty interesting. I wonder what happened. The closest team to Geek Fam was our Icon and Devora. So either one of these teams probably got the drop onto Orin.
Yeah.
This is good news for Devora because they will go into this next fight with 1 extra member, and it seems like they're actually beelining towards Geek Fam without any hesitation. Geek Fam, they are still pretty much ready for this fight, but we'll see how Devora plays this out. Jim Quest is down pretty low. Victory just completely obliterates him. But Neki will come in with the flank, taking down one. Good glue wall as well. Exact finds Cyber as Geek Fam. You cannot underestimate them even when you have the numbers advantage, and Devora stood no chance at all. They sent entry and they lost all of them.
Well, not all of them, right? I mean, Ash is the last remaining player, but I find it very weird, right? I mean, okay, so you had 4 players, you go into Geek Fam. Now, at first they didn't know it was Geek Fam, right? Like, you have no way of knowing who you're fighting unless you get the drops. But it seems like Ash actually started running before the fight ended. It was almost as if, like, they were expecting to lose that fight. I'm not sure if that was the plan overall. I mean, they will at least have someone there to give the team some placement points. Speaking of placement, so Freedom Rumble getting a big pick off onto Mural. Ooh.
Max International. Again, in a rough spot. The first enemy that they had to go up against is Freedom Rumble. So this is not an easy fight for Blacklist to deal with, as Icon now again will be taking on Geek Fam, but we'll keep our eyes on Freedom Rumble again. You can see Ali, he's getting cornered. Phoenix as well, getting pressured. Those blue walls are getting dropped down. There are some return fires from Ali. He will be able to down Neptune, but for Freedom Rumble, they should be able to bring Neptune back up. And look at that, Vegeta with that grapple is going to make his way around this blue wall and go for the swing onto Ali, but ends up losing the fight instead, as Freedom Rumble are starting to fall apart. Ali getting pelted with bullets from Too Fast 3G, but Phoenix will also run through, and that is just a distraction. The bait and switch worked out for Blacklist, and they take 4 without losing anyone.
Husky, I don't know if my eyes were tripping, or maybe Vegeta was just so busy with the fight he did this, but he ran up to the rooftop, and Cobra was there. We were looking at his perspective as well, and I mean, I caught a glimpse of Cobra. I guess he didn't notice Cobra was also on the roof, because Cobra just came in behind him and he just started pelting him in the backside with bullets. Am I tripping?
I suppose not.
I don't know.
I don't think you are.
I feel like I'm tripping. Anyways, speaking of tripping, it looks like we've got one member of Geek Fam here. It's Zach, and he's actually in the middle of Icon, and it looks like he's going to be taken down. Oh.
No way for Geek Fam to get out of that. It's a rough one for Geek Fam. And that's 3 for Icon, so we can confirm that Orin was assassinated by Icon. So Geek Fam, they're down to just 1 member, and I wonder who that is. Yep, Man04. The one lone wolf of Geek Fam. When you want Geek Fam to clutch, you can always rely on Man04, but it's a bit too early for Geek Fam to be down to just 1 member. So he would have to play a very safe game until the very end, and I'm not sure how much impact can he bring to the table, but we'll always have Geek Fam, you know, in the corner of our eyes until they officially get knocked out. Team Princess, though, were able to survive the early push from Sorry Roar. They will let the last member go, and in fact, they are running straight into No Escape Umbrella onto the high ground near Foundation. So we'll see how this is going to work out.
They're waiting, and they should have seen Jimmy Neo. So I'm wondering what the players here. Do they wait? Do they maybe wait until Team Princess feel comfortable? Because Cash should be ready around that corner.
Oh boy, I don't think they have any idea. Well, the shots have been fired, and now Team Princess completely alerted to the presence of No Escape Umbrella. As you can see, Cast will take the ground floor, maybe try to go for flank builds, will do the same as well. They have full control of Foundation, so all these buildings can act as pretty decent cover for the members of No Escape Umbrella. In fact, if they want to make a retreat, they can absolutely do so. Sorry Roar getting picked up by Afik, and that's the end of Sorry Roar, out in 11th place, as No Escape Umbrella completely abandons Foundation. They don't want to have anything to do with Team Princess. Jace was able to take down Drax off screen, as EWG finds themselves face to face against New Gang.
Oh, so at least we didn't see any casualties in that previous fight, but we could be seeing one here, depending on who wants to make that move first, who's able to get that peek off. But so far, Husky, I mean, we're getting some pretty early kills. Oh, pretty big hits as well. But would you say this was to be expected on Kalahari so far? I think we're sort of on track in terms of the speed of this game.
And everyone is, you know, starting off the fights with pretty decent supplies. They have a lot of utilities to work with, and it really just comes down to decision making. As you know, if AJ was here, he would definitely question a lot of the moves we saw early on by some of these teams. I think Sorry Raw would be taking a lot of flack from him. That,
thank goodness he's not here then.
I'm pretty sure he's watching. You know, he is taking down notes. So Sorry Raw, you guys better be careful. They might be in the grand finals, right? Because they're in a good position. So that's something that they have to work on in the coming few games, even before the grand final starts. But Team Princess caught up with No Escape Umbrella, and it feels like this time No Escape Umbrella really has no escape at all. They have to take this fight, and iPad's a good ambush. Immediately traded back by Alpha XR. The good duo will be able to buy some time to get Dimino back out. In fact, Cast wants to go for the push, but gets knocked down by Ejester. Fails that attempt as well. No Escape Umbrella, they're funneling in one by one, and this trickling effect is not really working out for them. They were able to, at least down Jimino and prevent him from being picked back up. New Gang now sticks their foot into the fight, and they got a couple of snipes as well and got some damage onto the members of Team Princess, but I don't think it's sufficient to prevent the obliteration of No Escape Umbrella. Team Princess gets everyone back up on their feet, and they completely annihilate No Escape Umbrella for 4 more points.
Oh, I actually thought that might have actually gone in the way of No Escape Umbrella, but Team Princess, they're able to get those two. They were able to pick up those 2 down players. Now with 7 kills, they've got 7 kills already. Team Princess are firstly they're the kill leaders of this match, but they are on fire. And this is after the fact that these guys were the ones to get the booyah in the last round. I'm totally expecting them to at least finish quite high. As actually see Mio being taken out here. Icon losing a major player on the team by Tua from EWG.
Yeah, pretty weird as well. Icon are so spread out. You look at the radar. Icon are by no means with each other. Flame, he's taken out to the blue zone, so he will have to spend some time patching himself up with those bandages. And even then, it's pretty tough for him to make it out of the container with EWG on the high ground. They spotted a 3rd member of Icon hiding behind the supply crate, so Yun will have to fight his way out of this. But with those grenades being thrown at him and Fall dropping down from the high ground, it will be hard. Yun does get a knock onto Monito with that nade, but the rest of EWG will go in for the finisher, and Yun has no idea that Fox is coming from behind, and that backstab will work out. Flame will take the other route to try and make it into the safe zone, but unfortunately, there's only one way in and one way out, and that one-way ticket for him to get out is probably EWG knocking him out cold.
We'll have to see if Flame might be able to sort of sneak his way through the back door. I think after seeing all these EWG players actually retreating towards the inner zone of the circle, Flame might actually be able to sneak in. I think it'd be pretty impressive if he did, and it looks like it might happen, Husky. Look at this position. They're not even going to bother looking for him.
EWG have bigger priorities in mind, so they will, like you mentioned, try to work their way around, and they are actually moving towards Refinery, perhaps trying to go the long way to try cut into the safe zone, but they might bump into Devora, and in fact, New Gang will intercept them once more. These 2 teams did bump heads earlier on, with Drex from New Gang getting knocked down by members of EWG, but this time New Gang, they want some payback, and you can see that Asif is not letting the members of EWG go. Phoenix also chips in as well, but is dealing damage to NWG instead of EWG, so now we have a 3-way fight happening, and New Gang were not able to do substantial damage. They got a knock, but I'm pretty sure that member of EWG will be able to pick back up. In fact, that is already happening. The bad news for EWG is that the blue zone is closing in, and for he will tick down. EWG decides that it's not worth going back for their buddy, and New Gang will be able to hold their ground.
Yeah, well, admittedly, we are actually looking at one of the more painful circles as well, and it looks like Manito is actually going to be taken out by the play zone. I mean, I guess it's better than giving the kill off to New Gang, but I mean, it's a bit painful to sort of go down like that.
Yeah, and Jay's also got knocked down, but he does have his friend nearby to pick him back up. Unfortunately, if you look at the corner of the radar, EWG might have to face up with Geekfam. But Geekfam, they're pretty crippled though. They're down to just 1 man. In fact, EWG Jays gets found by Ash instead. And with Devora somehow finds Ash in return, so that's going to be the end of Devora. And thankfully for EWG, they should be able to still walk away with the last 2 members alive. New Gang, on the other hand, now engaged in a gunfight with Blacklist International, who are on the low ground but have some sort of compound to work with. This Burst Eye View gives us a pretty clear idea of how the rest of the round is going to pan out. Team Princess are in a good spot. Toda have to make them move pretty quickly because there's only one bridge. Either swim or cross that bridge, but either way, they are teams waiting on the other side.
Actually, just looking at where the teams are, I'm a big fan of where EWG are because they do have a little clip to work with. But speaking of other teams, we're actually going to be looking at Team Princess here, actually jumping into an engagement. I do believe that's with Icon, and even Todak is nearby as well, so we could be seeing a little bit of craziness happen. Alpha actually going to be deleted there by Pedro. Todak able to nab themselves an extra kill, and Icon, they're just sort of zipping right by, but they're going to run into Blacklist. Uh-oh, Flame.
Can he get out with that vehicle? Because his friend is definitely trapped. There's no way for Man to get out of this. I mean, EWG, he's also going to get knocked out. Man, he is just in a horrible spot. So Blacklist International were able to intercept Mio's. That's going to be Flame, excuse me. That's going to be the end of Icon. Todak chose to go for the swim. Alpha XR wanted to go for the ambush, but oh, the spray down from Team Princess catches 2 members of Todak, and that should be the final blow. Jiminho is gonna get knocked down. Nugan getting eliminated as Aegis somehow loses the fight. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Lux GZ, the last man alive, the clutch master of Team Princess, turns the corner into Pedro's shotgun. Todak somehow makes it work, and I don't know how Team Princess messed that up, but Todak lived to fight another day.
Oh, that's a big loss in Team Princess. I'm not going to be one of the finalists in this round. We've got 3 teams remaining, Blacklist and Secret Expert. They are already in the circle. It's actually, I'm wondering how Todak are going to be able to actually get into a pretty decent position because they are, not only are they incredibly far away, but look at where the map is. It's very open. They're going to have to use a lot of blue walls to get in. I mean, it's so exposed. They are so exposed.
They've been spotted. Nga fires the first couple of shots, but Todak, they want to avoid him, but they know that Blacklist International are waiting in front, and you can see that Afik, he is so trapped. That blue zone will take him down. We are most likely going to be seeing Secret Expert take on Blacklist International in this final circle. The first day gets tossed up by Nga. That one goes pretty wide as Afik gets knocked down by the play zone. Todak's days are numbered. They're living on borrowed time, and Pedro will be shut down, but not before he knocks down Ali. Can he get a secure? He actually can! He crippled Ali! Blacklist International now left with 3 members with 8 kills in the bag. They have a bit more than Secret Expert, but Ibnu just goes for the straight rush. Cobra is dead on the ground, and that is the star member of Blacklist International. Cripple, Miro also taken now. Phoenix is the last man alive. He's gonna see Taken. Taken with the blue protects himself. Phoenix down to 8 health, and there's no way he makes it out of this. Bakaji with the final blow. And Secret Expert redeemed themselves what they have not been able to do in game number 1. This is the booyah for them, and a very important one for Secret Expert.
No, they're going to be feeling so good with themselves after this round as well, because especially after what happened in the previous round where they got cleaned up so early. They didn't even manage to get too many points. A booyah here is going to be able to push them up. I mean, look at them. You'll be pretty happy as well. It's a Kalahari booyah. I personally think Kalahari booyahs are probably the best feeling booyahs of all the maps.
Oh, I love that Instagram story. Badut Vector, basically in direct translation, Badut means clown, and of course Vector. I'm not really sure what he's trying to you know, convey. I think he's just saying how dumb the Vector is at close range. Maybe that's, and I think it's something that we can agree, right? Ever since the first MCP, the Vector Akimbo has been the highlight of most CQCs. Obviously, we're seeing more varieties. We see the shotgun. We see a lot of people picking up those long-range weapons, like those rifles, those UMG. But once in a while, the Vector Akimbo still shows up when the teams needed it the most. And in this case, Secret Expert finally finds a booyah after so many times of missing out on it.
And there's going to be a whole bunch of points as well. I'm keen to see how many points they got overall and if they're able to actually top the charts, because I think in this map, Team Princess, I think they might be very close to actually being at the top of the leaderboard, even though I think they finished 4th or 5th. It's not top, but they're not anywhere near the bottom either. But a very interesting round as well, right? I mean, it was a very competitive round. It was a little bit slow, but it was also because no one really had the guts to try and double drop with another team. And we've seen it in the past. It either does great, or you just have to wait for the next round.
And it was definitely a weird start to the round, right? We saw a series of poor decisions, I would say. Some weird decision making from teams like Sorry Roar. They made this very odd call of trying to rush Team Princess on a high ground, which has no way of working out. This one could have been it for No Escape Umbrella, but they decided to trickle in one by one. And you know, when you fight these close range fights and you trickle in like that, it really puts you at a disadvantage, and Team Princess completely capitalized on it. So No Escape Umbrella made a pretty fatal decision in that regards. Team Princess, even though, like you said, didn't get the booyah, but I think they've gotten enough kills to put themselves up there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but we're gonna have to wait until we actually see the leaderboard. But one thing that is actually kind of painful to watch is anyone that was a Blacklist International fan, they have to think that that crucial pickoff coming into the absolute final circle, I think that ruined Blacklist's chance of actually getting the booyah themselves, right? Like, you have, it's so crucial that you get all 5 members in, but all 4 members in, sorry. But then to lose somebody and only have 3 players left, I think that was the nail in the coffin for them.
It really stings. It really stung for Blacklist, right? You had Pedro, the last man from Todak, completely isolated. He was dead in the water, but he was able to bring Ali with him, and that really sealed the fate of Blacklist. But here is the round standings. Secret Expert at the top with 20 points. A booyah and 8 kills, followed by Blacklist International with 17. Team Princess makes it to 3rd with 15 points. Todak in 4th place with 14. New Gang in 5th with 9 points. And of course, Icon will cap it off at 6th place with 8 points.
And I think a lot of fans are going to be thinking like, whoa, Geek Fam finishing in 6th place. And then I think the easiest way to sort of describe what happened with Geek Fam is it just wasn't their round. They got picked off multiple times. It wasn't the same as last game where they were able to grab those free kills and maintain 4 members going into the final circle. Yes, they didn't win back then, but this was a very, I don't want to say poor. I think it was just an unfortunate round for Geek Fam.
Yeah, they were playing with at a disadvantage from the get-go, right? With Orion, one of their star players, the star utility user, getting eliminated by, I believe, Icon. You can say the same for Freedom Rumble as well. They started off the round taking on Blacklist, but Blacklist was able to clutch out the fight and send Freedom Rumble packing. Sorry Roar, another team who made a very odd call to challenge Team Princess. They survived for a bit longer than Freedom Rumble, but alas, it was not meant to be. They ended up in 11th place anyways. No Escape Umbrella challenged Team Princess somewhere near Shrines, but you know, that one didn't really work out as well. They only got 1 kill, and it wasn't even from Team Princess. Or not even 1 kill, it's just 1 placement point.
I'm actually really keen to see where these teams are actually sitting on the leaderboard now, right? Because we've already concluded our first matchup of the day. People that are wondering, our first matchup, A versus B, is over for today. So teams in Group A, they're going to go and have a bit of a break. Group B, however, is now going to be pit up against Group C for their next round. And we're going back onto Bermuda. So very comfortable map for both of these teams. But I'm sort of wondering what's going to happen moving into this next round, because it's now down to teams in Group B to get as many points as possible before they tap out for today.
And we are seeing some front runners, at least for the first 2 rounds from Group A and Group B. You know, Blacklist International and Todak, these guys are performing exceptionally well. Freedom Rumble, not so, right? We are seeing the hit and miss from Freedom Rumble already. For Group B, it's Geek Fam and Team Princess, while we can also put Secret Expert on that radar. This will be the map recap. We have finished match 1 and 2 between Group A and Group B. The first one on Bermuda taken by Team Princess, and the second one on Kalahari backed by Secret Expert.
Oh, wow. We had a very explosive round for our first 2 matchups. If anyone does want to go back and watch the VODs, if you're wondering, okay, what's the spiciest matchup? Definitely recommend round 1. I think that Bermuda matchup was fantastic, especially with how the ending actually went. It was a very, very fun game to watch. But moving on, Husky, it's going to be B versus C. What could we expect from these teams in these groups now?
Well, to be very honest, I am slightly worried for Group C because they don't really have, you know, a super strong, a dominant team, right? Everyone is kind of on the same level, so that's something that I think, again, we keep our eyes on Epic and AKO Steady Squad, but even these 2 teams have their low moments, and that's what concerns me. But before we get into that, here's the overall standing. Geek Fam remains in first place, 349 points, followed by Todak, slowly catching up, 334. Third place would be Freedom Rumble with 268, followed by Team Princess with 264, and of course Secret Expert in 5th place with 247, Blacklist International with 239, Icon 233 and 7, Sorry Raw 214. Of course, Epic will be in 9th place. The first and the last position in the first page with 204 points. Some of these teams have not played any games just yet, so this standing is not going to be a constant as of now.
Excuse me. So the one team I'm actually really interested to see here is No Escape Umbrella, right? Because they've already played one round. Tuberadic and Metrics haven't played yet. They're playing this next round. For No Escape to take this spot away from Metrics, they're gonna have a fantastic game today, and they have to pray that Metrics and Tuberadic play terribly for the next 2 days. There is a chance. I see it. There is absolutely a chance that these teams are going to be able to get it. I feel like a Booyah might be enough to sort of tick them over, but No Escape hasn't had a Booyah yet. If they can secure themselves a Booyah, I think we could actually see a new 12th team.
And the race for 12th place is still on. I mean, EWG, they played their first 2 games, but look at them. They are not that far away from AKO Steady Squad, who at the same time hasn't been performing well, but they have 2 extra rounds to catch up to EWG. So I'm also slightly worried for that team, because EWG, if they keep up this performance, there is a chance that that Duo Barade might just slip into 12th place and knock EWG out of top 12. So it's a very scary thought for some of these teams, but we'll just have to see how the next 2 rounds, proceed. Maybe Group C can give us a better fight compared to what we saw on week 3, because to be very honest, Annalie, week 3 was just more of a show between Group A and Group B, and Group C, they kind of felt like side characters, in most of those rounds.
Like filler characters, right? It's like, oh, you're here. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, they died.
I think the only team from Group C in top 9 is Epic. Every other team is Group A and Group B, and the second closest is AKO Steady Squad in 11th place. And again, they have been super shaky, and it's also one of
very
those...
inconsistent, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very unfortunate to see the team be so inconsistent, because again, it's one of these teams, and I think you also mentioned this last week. It's very hit or miss. They have fantastic days, and then they have other days where it's like, where's the coffee? Where is it? It's not here.
And sometimes when you watch them play, it feels like you are waiting for something that you feel like would happen, but never really happens. Yeah, it's like waiting for a shooting star, right? It's like 1 out of a million odds. There are moments where AKO Steady Squad make great plays, especially when we look at members like Mr. D. He is fantastic, but even then they feel so fragmented. But of course, before we talk more on AKO Steady Squad, we have to give credit to our MVP of match 1 and 2. Of course, it will be taken from Secret Expert. He has had some moments where he kind of got humiliated by Man 04. I think these two would be eternal rivals for the rest of the league, just because of a couple of last man standing moments. But even then, he still proves himself to be one of the best snipers in the game. When Secret Expert needs someone to play that long range, Taken is always the guy that they go to.
I love watching Taken play, and especially once he's just on a roll, if he's on fire. Really, really amazing guy, and very scary player to go up against as well, especially his sniping skills. I mean, we've seen it in the previous rounds. It didn't work in the first game, but second game it did a little bit better. I mean, we've got to keep an eye out on him, but of course we do have some other teams we do need to keep an eye out on as well. Now, Group B versus C, we'll leave Group A, okay, that they can have a break. We'll take them out of the spotlight. They can come back in a little bit later for their next round. But B versus C. Now, Husky, you mentioned, especially during week 3, a lot of the spotlight was on these teams in groups A and B. C was just sort of these side characters. Just going off of the new information that we have and these rounds that we've played after the shuffle, how are you kind of feeling about these teams in Group C? Do you feel like they're getting better? Do they have a second wind?
I feel like they do, but it's... I don't know how to properly phrase this. I don't want to say that they have a second win, right? Because they didn't give me that feeling. If we look at the map recap for day 2 of week 3, out of the 6 rounds, only 1 round was secured by Group C, and it was Hero on round 3, and that was on Kalahari. And we do have Kalahari today, but Hero is a team that you don't really rely on too much to kind of
You
back
don't really
the glory
see
for the
them.
group. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the standing says a lot, right? They are in 17th place right now, and the team in last place is also Group C, MND Diehard. The easiest way to describe Group C is they feel like the Group A before the shuffle. Before the shuffle, Group C was the group of death. 5 out of the 6 teams were absolute monsters, and now Group C just feels like a former.
So you just like swap the boxes, right? So you have like
yeah.
Group B here, and it's like, well, I'm just gonna we'll just swap them. It's fine. Okay, we'll have the group of death is A. It was C. Now it's A. So we'll just go back and change everything, but
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll have to see.
Again, it's hard to find highlights from Group C, and again, and I don't want to discredit all the teams from Group C, right? They do have their moments, but they pale in comparison to what we saw from the teams from Group A and Group B. And Group C, it's back to the drawing board. They have to show up, and they have to show up big. There's not many rounds left. For Group C, there are only 8 rounds left, 4 today and 4 tomorrow, and they have to make it work, because even if you look at the top 12 right now, there are only 3 representatives from Group C. Not really a good showing from these guys.
Well, we're going to jump into our third game of the day. It is once again going to be the wonderful sunny Bermuda. We're also going to be following teams B versus C. A are going to be playing again a little bit later versus C, so we'll focus on this grouping for now. But speaking of these teams, we're going to be seeing their drop zones, and so far we're not seeing any team sort of double up yet, but I mean, they could make me eat my words. EWG, though, are ridiculously close to MND.
I wonder if MND Diehard learned anything from all of the rounds that they played. They definitely won't be able to make it to top 12. It's just too far of a gap. But what we saw from MND Diehard at the start of the league is that they tend to split up, and when they do that, they always end up going down.
Husky, take a look at the middle of the map. We've got New Gank, who's actually dropped right in the center.
Oh boy!
Of AKO.
Right on the low ground as well. This feels like
that looks like a firing zone.
Yeah, you remember those Colosseums in Rome? This feels like it, built in nature.
Oh no, the Bermuda Colosseum. Goodness.
Yeah. Like of all the places to drop, this is pretty tough, right?
I'm just wondering, like, do they have vision on anybody? Because it seems like Moon knows somebody is there, but he's not 100% sure either.
He's gonna go
like,
on the high ground. See if he can find more info. Fikain would be the guy that needs to somehow stop AKO, but judging by AKO's movements, I think they know that there is a team nearby.
Yeah, seems like it. Oh, okay. Zero might want to get out of this building because he's right next to New Gank now. I don't believe they have vision on him yet.
Oh,
it
he
seems
saw
like they
two
don't.
guys. He saw Drax and Kenzie, and that's gonna be his first shot.
Oh.
Instant glue wall drop. Kenzie down low, and Xeno somehow still finds him. Oh, Kenzie, instead of running straight, he ran out. Thankfully, Drax will be there to pick him back up. But there's a lot of resources expended at such an early stage of the game. AKO, they don't even need to get kills. They just need to waste those utilities from the side of New Gang. And right off the bat, you can see maybe Moon's position won't work out if he can just get a couple of shots in. But at the same time,
he's alone.
He is completely isolated from the rest of his team. Maybe the flush from AKO Steady Squad is not as effective as they thought it would be. They did find Fikain though, and maybe Moon can supplement that, but it's taking a bit too long. Drax will find the finisher. Moon is down on the ground, and AKO's method of trying to ambush New Gang ended up backfiring, and they will lose Moon to the first blood of this game.
And they weren't even able to take down Fikain as well. I think if they were able to eliminate him, I think Moon wouldn't have been so occupied just actually watching to see where Fikain was coming from, right? Because you could see that he was so focused on watching that member behind him. And then as soon as he turned around, it was like, oh, you're dead. Because they just ran at him. I mean, what was he going to be able to do? So both teams were able to, well, they haven't traded yet, but we could be seeing a trade very soon. But Mr. D, oh, taking some big hits there.
I wonder what's the call for AKO right now, because they had a lot of moments where they just felt very lost. We have we saw a couple of fights last week where AKO were the one who started, and somehow you just see someone like Mr. D running away before the fight ended. This shot is good from Ajim. Nastin has no way of
All in
getting
the open
out. And
too.
there are a couple of tags from behind, but backup is a bit too far away, and Ajim, you just need to calm down a bit. Just get those shots through. Backup is still there from New Gang, and Ajim finally lands the finishing touch and taking out one member and getting revenge for his buddy Moon early on. And that means that AKO can now stay. They are fighting a fair fight, 3-on-3 against New Gang, and it seems like they have warmed up.
Ooh, actually on the other side of the map, we actually have another team getting a knock. So it's not just this side, we're actually seeing some action here. It's 2B versus Metrics.
Mocha knocked out early on by Crown, but Rai is there. So just lend him a hand and get him back up on his feet. Duo Barade have the high ground around this mill area. So for Metrics, it's time to try to get those long range fights in. Riven finds Kimmy, and that's a catch on the side. A good one from Riven. Crown does get the down onto Mocha again, but it seems like he might not be able to get the finisher. Meanwhile, New Gang, they are starting to inch closer towards the compound of AKO Steady Squad. Drax playing that long range, Kenzie playing that close range. They have that formation lined up, but New Gang, they still have one extra member who is playing from far away, and you can see that he is skirting the circumference of the safe zone, trying to go for a flank, but AKO Steady Squad have that covered. So we'll see what the move for New Gang is. So far, they are just trying to keep AKO Steady Squad contained, but sooner or later they have to make a move, and maybe Kenzie will be the one who pull the trigger. Zero finds out the Drax. This is pretty tragic for New Gang though, because they don't have a way to get to Drax. Maybe Fikai can do so. We'll see if they can make their way
there's
uphill.
no way.
This is just
There's
way
no
too hard.
cover. Yeah, there's no cover up there. I mean, if you try and run up to get that res onto Drexy, I think you'll have a higher chance of getting knocked out rather than actually running up that hill. I think that was a bit of a mistake, but speaking of mistakes, we're going to be seeing one here. Metrics again under fire from 2B. But the thing is, okay, it's 2B that's playing with 3 players compared to Metrics' 4. So what's the play here, actually? Are we just going to see them run? Looks like it. And AKO, I think they got an elimination there.
And that is going to be tough for New Gang. I think Duo Barade, they don't have much places to run to. They were playing the high ground, but they ended up losing Kimmy to Metrics early on, to Riven, who got an amazing snipe from below. So this entire mill has been lost to Metrics. They are starting to surround Duo Barade. They are trying to overwhelm the members. Duo Barade still have the high ground, but it's only a matter of time before things fall apart. Rich going to be knocked down by Mocha. The time turner will be up for Akims, but he is surrounded by the members of Metrics. Duo Barade down to just 2 members, as both Akim and Crown are low. A good grenade from Rai to do the job, and Duo Barade still no chance. Metrics finds 4. They break free from the clutches of Duo Barade, and they will be able to wipe them out.
Man, that's going to be so unfortunate for Duo Baradic as well, excuse me, because they were the ones to be raining hell down onto Metrics, but then Metrics are able to just turn it on their head because 2B, they weren't able to prevent Metrics from being able to actually counterfire as well. And speaking of counterfiring, I think this might just be the end here of New Gang. AKO, they finally had it. They've got the drop on the Kenzie. Kenzie is down. We've got 1 player left, and it's Fikine. I suspect he's just going to be pursued. I think this is just going to be 4 easy kills here for AKO. Yes, they lost a player in the process. They lost Moon very early on because of New Gang, but it's going to feel good to have that revenge.
And Jay is getting ran over by a bike. It's going to be Epic taking on EWG by the seaside, and so far it's a fair fight. EWG for playing in the time turner, weaving in and out of their utility, but still ends up going down to the UMP of Ashen. And unfortunately for EWG, they are not out of the water just yet. 3 down the ground. Tua is the last man standing. A couple of medkits to patch himself back up. And Epic will take that time to wipe up the rest of his teammate. And unfortunately for Tua, his back is exposed, and it will be EWG getting mopped up by Epic.
That's going to be 4 kills for Epic as well. And this is probably going to be the hero, the grand champion for Group C, as you said, Husky, right? I mean, this is one of the teams from Group C that's competing. And so far, would you say it's the top performing team at this rate? Yeah.
In Group C, yeah, I would say yes. Epic has the best chance. Even then, I think it's pretty tough to kind of put any other team above Epic. Maybe again AKO Steady Squad is the team, but I would say Epic has been more consistent than AKO Steady Squad through and throughout. So it's a pretty scary thought
fair.
if you're a supporter of AKO Steady Squad. You look at the amount of booyahs. Epic is the only team in top 9 from Group C, and they are the only team in top 9 with no booyahs to their name, but they somehow are pretty decent in terms of kills. Obviously, they have the least kills out of the top 9 teams, but for Group C, you can say that Epic so far is the best performing team.
Fair. And I do believe that Secret Expert actually caught a glimpse of Hero, but I don't know if Hero saw them as well. Both teams are going to be staying put. I mean, they're relatively safe positions, and yep, they're going to be safe within that circle. It's going to be down to these other teams to make their way in. And are we going to be seeing any teams being gate-kept? I think there's a really good chance that Geek Fam is going to have to deal with Secret Expert here.
It's going to be interesting. I think Secret Expert will be super hungry for some revenge. Geek Fam has snatched a couple of booyahs from Secret Expert prior to this. I think it was in week number 1. And that was pretty rough on Secret Expert because they could have had a better positioning if not for Geek Fam. So that grudge is going to be carried on, I believe. Again, it's between Man04 and Taken. These two, they have a personal rivalry going on. And it's just something that I thought was a great storyline just because we've seen these two as the final man standing for their team so many times. But it would be great to see Secret Expert take on Geek Fam. Team Princess also slowly making their move. And they're already in the circle. They're playing on this freeway. They have a vehicle to work with. Everything is falling in place for Team Princess. But maybe we will see the same kind of approach just like in round 1, where Team Princess just bide their time and only take the fights that will lead them to that booyah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt for them to play safe now because they've already played 2 rounds. They did fantastic in the first one. They did reasonably during the second round. So I think they're already pretty happy with their positioning. But looks like the siren is going to sound and these teams are going to have to start making a move. Now, speaking of moves, we do have Geek Fam heading towards the northeast side. And MND, I do believe they actually caught a glimpse of Geek Fam as well. So they're going to be a little bit safer. They're going to move towards the northwest side, which leaves that last remaining new gank player all alone towards that southern section of the map. I'm not really sure there's a safe way to come up this hill, but I mean, if he survives, he survives.
We'll see how long he can. We've seen a couple of instances where, those backstabs, yeah, they have worked out. Though very rare, that's what makes it so interesting. But we saw Team Princess, I believe, engaging Matrix, and it is Rai getting taken out early on. And we'll see how that's going to unfold. So far, Team Princess hasn't really made too much noise. Maybe Matrix will be the first victim. Early on, Matrix were able to wipe out Duo Barade, but perhaps this bridge would be the final resting spot. Riven has nowhere left to go. They've already lost 3, and everyone from Matrix is falling like dominoes. Troop, what else have you got in the tank? Ejat Sir, he's not going to be damaged. He has the glue wall to work with. Information has been relayed to the rest of Team Princess, and Troop knows that the only way out is upwards. And unfortunately, even that is going to be a challenge. Team Princess will try to hunt him down as he is the last vestige of Matrix.
That's going to be very unfortunate too because Metrics, they're sitting in 12th place. They do want to try and get as many points as possible to move themselves away from that 12th place, right? You want to try and widen that gap. We'll see if they're able to get a getaway, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But it looks like Secret Expert did actually clash. Taken survives that fall. Geek Fam. Oh, no. Taken's dead. Okay, I thought he was going to be able to get away.
Unfortunately,
full damage.
Oh, I honestly thought that that Secret Expert had a chance, but I think when we saw them on the screen, they were already cornered, just like Troop, backs against the blue zone, and Alpha XR is not even needed. Jiminho does it. Team Princess with 4 kills, and Metrics are out.
It's going to be down for Metrics. Now, Team Princess, they're sitting on 4 kills. Going to be very happy with themselves. Now, I do believe the kill leader is sitting on 4 or 5 kills right now. So, on par for points. Hero, unfortunately, not sitting on top of any points at all, but they have caught wind of another team who's actually running at them now. I hope they're ready to take them on. It's going to be Epic.
Oh boy, look at who is coming in from behind. This Team Princess.
Oh
Hero, they
dear.
are caught up on the freeway and they have two teams that they need to deal with. And they're getting shot at by Lux GZ, and that's gonna be Iman down. You can see that the rest of Hero scramble to get the body back up. Blue Walls and Time Turner all thrown out as well. But that also means Hero can't, they won't be feeling safe staying here. They have this container to work with.
But look at this Geek Family coming too. Oh my gosh.
This is gonna be pretty messy, but before that happens, we have Devora Gym Quest getting caught out in the open by AKO Steady Squad, and it will be Mr. D picking up the kill. But Arjun will be traded back by Devora. Neki is gonna be able to do that. Slayer now chips in as MND Diehard finally shows their face, and the presence will be felt by Devora. That will be Cyber getting eliminated, picked up by MND Diehard, but these guys, they are very lenient with their punishment. They take one kill and they run straight away, and might be straight into Geek Fam though, and you see that Artongi is already getting shot at. Man 04 in position. Team Princess on the other end will be trying to run at Hero. You can see that Hero will be playing behind supply crate, that one duo that they erected, and of course a couple of containers on this freeway. And it seems like Epic are not interested in contesting at all.
I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? To just let all the big dogs eliminate themselves, you're going to be able to get those placement points in. And it looks like Geek Fam, they are just crushing M&D. And that's just going to be it. They just get eliminated. Oh, Devora. I mean, that was tough to watch, but what could you do, right? Like, they were all huddled together, hiding behind glue walls, but the grenade was going to get them eventually, so...
Yeah, and of course...
That's going to be it. But guess who's alive? Fiquin! That one lone new gank player. He's actually alive.
As the chaos unfolds around him, maybe he can get some decent placement points for his team. Epic are starting to feel the pressure from Hero. Rambo will be the one kind of keeping Epic in check as Team Princess. They were able to snuck towards the side of the bridge, but they're not completely safe as Iman GG somehow still finds a very cheeky angle. Those grenades and a couple of shots, so Team Princess, they can only hide there for so long. Second nade, this one's gonna get a double tag. Third nade getting thrown out by Iman. Another good tag onto Alpha. Some very substantial damage as Ejester also brought down low. Team Princess needs to do with this guy. He is raining hellfire on the members of Team Princess, and Ejester will be knocked down. Fifth nade coming through, and that one might be a knockdown. Ejester gets brought back up. Time Turner is there, but it will be Lux GZ that gets knocked down. And Iman, he is just a absolute menace. Thanks to him, Geek Fam were able to join the party and spoil the fun for Team Princess. These guys have already been knocked out as Hero will continue that rampage. They pick off AKO Steady Squad. They take down a couple of members from Epic, who by the way now have control of the safe zone as Geek Fam finds himself in face of Behind. But that will be New Gang breathing their last breath out in 4th place. Geek Fam with 9 kills in the bag, and they're gunning for that booyah.
They're gunning for the booyah, and look at who is in the circle. It's actually going to have to be a big battle to go in there as well. So it's going to be Epic, Geek Fam, and I do believe that is Hero actually sitting on the high ground. But if anything, you can see Geek Fam, they do want to take that low ground away from Epic if they can, because this is a much better place to be than where Hero is right now.
And with Coco taken out, you know that Geek Fam is going to go for the kill. Man 04 with the shotgun in hand. Orin getting a good nade. That's 3 down for Epic. And there is none left for them. Hero finally got off the freeway, but only into the crosshairs of Fake Greedy. And I think Geek Fam, they have officially done it. I wouldn't say that I said it too early because it's Geek Fam. 13 kills in the bag, and they're going to go for more. Why not add 4 more onto the tally? Iman trying to run circles around Man 04, but this guy does not miss. Fake Greedy with a second knock. That's going to be Rambo down. Hero scramble to find any semblance of life, but the only outcome will be death, and it will be Geek Fam with 17 kills, and finally a well-earned booyah in the 3rd match of the day.
I think it was 16, but oh my gosh. So that round alone, they got 28 points. Husky, isn't that like half the teams compete? Oh, sorry, that's points. Sorry,
Yeah,
they got
that's
16 kills. I'm too excited.
That's
But
1/3 of the teams.
That's 1/3 of all the teams competing. I mean, this is easily just a great way to make up for what happened earlier today. Which, for people that don't know what happened, we did see Geek Fam have a bit of a tough round, right? I guess that's the easiest way to put it. They had a really rough round. They finished very, very early, and it was very uncharacteristic for Geek Fam, but you know what is characteristic? Having rounds like that.
I think Geek Fam is the only team that can have a bad round and makes up for 2 rounds straight with the points that they get. I don't know if it makes sense. In one round, right? They get 2 rounds worth of points in one round. So yeah, I think they're the only team that have been able to do that. And they are the one who currently hold the highest record of total amount of points garnered in one round. I believe it was 34, 32 or 34. Yeah, it was pretty insane, and it was at the start of the league as well.
Geek Fam. I mean, what can I say? I'm so used to seeing this team just crush their groups. So, alrighty, Geek Fam. They have a really good round that round. We've got one more game to go. It is going to be Kalahari. But before then, we'll just take a very quick look at what happened in that previous round. And I mean, there were a couple of major plot points that were sort of made in this game, right? And it's the fact that, so Metrics, they're trying to widen the gap from 12th place. They managed to get a couple points before doing so. Unfortunately, they weren't able to finish later in the round. I think they only managed to garner 1 to 2 points in terms of placement with 4 kills on top of that. AKO, do you roughly know where AKO ended? Because this is also a team that is wanting to try and rise up in the leaderboard.
I'm not really sure, honestly. I think after the whole fight with which team was it? Was it EWG or New Gang? I lost track of AKO Steady Squad. I think AKO Steady Squad kind of got wiped out halfway through, but I'm not really sure by what team. And of course, we have taken with the Hail Mary attempt, trying to go for the Leap of Faith Assassin's Creed style, but ended up dying from the fall.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a Geek Fam show. They caught MND Die Hard beelining towards the safe zone, and this was the major.
This was devastating. Yeah.
This was horrific for Team Princess, right? They thought they were safe, but Iman just did not miss a beat, and of course, Geek Fam chipped him at the last minute, took out Team Princess, worked on Epic. They got Coco first, and the rest of Epic fell apart, with Mano 4 going in for the rush, and the rest is history. Hero were not able to match up with the tempo of Geek Fam, and it was just Geek Fam putting on a show like they always have been doing the entire league. And you're right, 16 kills is the total tally, and with that booyah, it brings Geek Fam up to 28 points. AKO Steady Squad actually finished in 5th place with 7 kills, 13 points. Epic getting 12, Hero with 12 as well, Team Princess with 9, and of course New Gang with 8 points at 6th place.
I mean, this is good for AKO, because I know both of us were a little bit worried about their placement. There was absolutely a chance that this team could drop down, but I mean, if they're going to make gaps like this, I think I'd be pretty happy if I was the team in regards to their performance. But they still have one more game to go. All these teams have one more game to go before Group B retire for the evening and C goes against A. But our next map, it's going to be a bit of a troubling one for some of these teams. It's Kalahari. Not everyone likes Kalahari, but I think it's going to be a very interesting one, because we saw a lot of early game action from the leader. I want to see how these teams do together now on my favorite map.
Yeah, and Secret Expert were the team who got the booyah on Kalahari just now, and you can see right after that, they completely dropped the ball. Only 1 point for round number 3, so that's kind of the hit and miss, the dice roll factor, if you may, for Secret Expert.
I kind of want to argue, actually, they probably bombed out of this round just because it was Geek Fam. I feel like if it was any other team, they may have actually been able to get out of there, or maybe win the skirmish themselves, but because it's Geek Fam, and Geek Fam are just so good at close quarter combat, I think they win every fight without a doubt. I don't think we've ever seen Geek Fam actually lose a close quarter engagement.
Yeah. Geek Fam is like those global plague where they show up, you just run, right? There's no way to beat them.
If you know it's them, right?
Yeah, if you know it's them, but most of the time you wouldn't know until they start cleaning you up, and I think that's the same for Secret Expert. They actually held a pretty interesting spot, right? They held that high structure. We saw them trying to kind of ambush Geek Fam, but when we got to see them, I think it was a bit too late. They already lost like 2 members, and Geek Fam just completely overwhelmed them with force. There was nothing much that Secret Expert could have done. So yeah, I agree. I think if it wasn't Geek Fam, maybe Secret Expert would have had a better chance.
Yeah, speaking of a better chance, I think Kalahari is definitely going to be more their map because the team seems to do much better with long range than they do short range. So we'll see if things change. I mean, as you said, right, they managed to get a booyah themselves. The team have a lot of potential. It's just, are they going to be able to tap into it? We'll only find out once we jump into our next game. But before we jump into the next game, we're going to have a quick break. So if you need to go to the toilet or grab some snacks, grab a drink, do so right now. But make sure you come back because we're going to jump into Kalahari as soon as we return. We'll see you after this.
Masing-masing masih lagi belum mengalah dalam permainan kita. Kedua-dua pasukan berusaha untuk mendapatkan kemenangan. Siapakah di antara mereka peserta ataupun Mr. Wega yang akan memenangi cabaran kali ini?
Anda sedang menonton rancangan permainan Free Fire Challengers Malaysia dan kami host anda, my name is Mustachio AJ bersama dengan Haji Yat, dan untuk menggemburkan episod kepada kali ini kita ada pasukan B iaitu Geek Fam yang akan berlawan dengan Encik Wega. Jangan lupa untuk mengundi salah satu daripada 5 ganjaran milestone penonton yang bakal anda terima sekiranya para pemain menang.
Untuk kedudukan sekarang ini, Mr. Wega ketinggalan 10 mata di belakang para peserta kita. Pasukan Blacklist berusaha keras nak menang untuk round yang ketiga ini sebenarnya. Apakah perasaan Mr. Wega kita ketika ini? Mr. Wega, silakan. Saya rasa saya boleh baca apa yang dikatakan oleh Mr. Wega tu.
Man of very few words, Haji.
Ya.
Pihak lawan dia hari ni agak bersemangat juga.
Pantai.
Cabaran bagi episod ini adalah The Epic Airdrop. Airdrop amat berharga tetapi sukar diperolehi. Sambut bola oren untuk mengumpul satu mata dan elak bola putih yang akan menyebabkan satu mata ditolak.
Pasukan Geek Fam akan menentang Mr. Wega dengan tangannya diikat.
Let the game begin.
Round 1.
Yes! Jauh je.
The teamwork is absolutely solid, Haji. Mereka sedang mencuba.
Hampir di situ.
Tangkapan bola yang amat bagus tetapi
baru satu saja. Hampir. Almost. Okay, two.
Okay, 2.
Tiga. Dua. Satu.
Haji. Apa ni, Haji? Terlalu senang pula.
24 mata kedudukan ketika ini semakin jauh meninggalkan Mr. Wega. Tengok macam kurang meyakinkan apa pun kita cakapkan. Good luck lah untuk Mr. Wega.
Absolutely
Kali
good
ini giliran dia. 1, 2, 3. Aduh Mr. Wega. Tunggu Mr. Wega.
This is amazing. How is this penguin getting it done? Double action, Mr. Wega with the blue hand Wega.
3, 2, 1.
Airdrop specialist. Oh my good, Haji.
Ya.
Ni 1, 2,
Wow.
3.
Wow.
Oh my god, 4,
Wow.
5,
Wow.
6. Apa ni? Solo versus duo pun Mr. Wega confirm menang.
So menjadikan 16 mata buat Mr. Wega. Kembali bersama Wheel of Misfortune.
Dan untuk memusing roda musibah kita, kita ada ejen Ali daripada Blacklist International. Alright. Ali tadi dah kena kan? If you're ready, please. Musibah besar. Musibah yang amat besar. Alright.
Nice choice, Ali. Nice
Perfect
choice.
punishment, Ali. Thank you very much, sir. We will call you back in a bit. Okey, musibah yang amat besar, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Kerana belon dia pun agak besar sikit, Haji.
Ya, dan air dia pun akan ditambah.
Ah.
So, kalau kena, kepala dia mungkin boleh pecah dan mereka akan masak kuyup.
Alright, boys.
Alright, I'm ready.
Boys, you ready, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoa.
Alright, opportunity. Oh. And the battle rages on. King manages to get one, tetapi tolak satu markah hijau.
Dia tangkap bola air.
Bola putih.
5. Oh, dapatnya Akik on fire.
Absolutely. Okay, on fire. Tetapi terkena juga air.
Yang terkena juga ayah. Elok tu handsome sikit. So kita akan tambah mata mereka 5 lagi.
Alright.
Menjadikan 29. Mr. Wega, adakah anda dah bersedia?
Woo!
Wow. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to the Free Fire Challengers Malaysia. Of course, with me is Danali. My name is Husky, and after some back and forth, I was forced to do the intro. But what I wasn't forced to do is to tell you guys that we have a lot more rounds coming up, 3 to be exact. And it's my favorite number. Our favorite map is also coming up, Kalahari. We saw Group C kick off the round in a kind of expected fashion, with GeekFam getting the booyah and bagging 28 massive points. But Group C still have 3 more matches to go, whereas for GeekFam and the rest of Group B, they have one last match to rake in as much points as possible. So we'll see how it's going to turn out in the upcoming match 4.
Yeah, I feel like if it's not a team from Group B that's able to secure these points, I think it'll be a pretty big turnaround, because we do know that teams in Group C really need those points, especially considering that the majority of them are still vying for that top 12 placement. I mean, you said this earlier on, Husky, only one team from Group C is currently in top 12, which is Epic, I believe. There are a couple teams that they're getting there, or they're kind of there. I mean, Metrics is there as well, but I mean, the team didn't do well in that last round, and if they don't do well this round, I'm afraid that they are possibly going to lose grip of their 12th placing.
Yeah, this is looking pretty scary, right? The only team that has a good chance of overtaking them right now is Dua Berade, and thankfully in round number 3, they were the one who took out Dua Berade, so it set them on the right course, but it didn't give them too big of a lead. Dua Berade can still catch up, and so far the only thing separating these two are honestly just kill points. Metrics has considerably more kills compared to Dua Berade. That can easily change. AKO Steady Squad maintaining their grip in that 11th place, and they are getting close to overtaking EWG, but still not as convincing as we would like to see. But after all of those poor rounds from AKO Steady Squad, I suppose we could cut them some slack and say that first match was pretty okay, considering most of the rounds that they played previously were hard to watch. But let's see if they can keep that up in round number 4 as we head towards Kalahari for the second match, at least for the guys from Group C, and the final match for those in Group B.
And let's see if we're going to get any double drops today. And we could see one, Husky, if you take a look at the southern side of the map and the middle as well.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, that's 3 teams, isn't it? Or am I tripping?
It's nice too. Oh, it's not these two again. No, not Metrics and Dua Berade. Come on, guys. I mean, I'm not sure whose idea is this, but if it's Dua Berade's idea, you guys are paying for it. Just poor decisions, unfortunate circumstances, whatever you call it, but the chances of making it into 12 places getting slimmer and slimmer, right? With this knockout, Akim, he has no chance, and well, we got what we wished for. The early fights, Metrics winning out against Dua Berade 2 times in a row, but on the other side, Team Princess are really laying it hard onto Hero. Rembo gets a good spray down, 5-2! That is more than what Team Princess expected out of Hero, but they should be able to get those members back up. And Vanix is left with 43 HP and nothing to his name. Only a gun separates him and certain death, and good nade from Jimmy Neo to close it out. And of course, they had to plant the flags of the corpses of the members of Hero. Take that, Team Hero. Team Princess finds 4 kills.
You know, if there was a grenade at all that he could actually throw on top of Team Princess as they were getting those reses up, I think we could have looked at a completely different game. I think Team Princess would have been destroyed after that, but no grenade. So they were able to get those 3 easy picks. They lose absolutely no one in the process as well. So already just off to a fantastic... let me rephrase this. Off to a fantastic ending for Team Princess, as this is their last round.
Yeah, close it out on the high note. Team Princess would definitely love this. They have had a amazing day. The only round that they struggled a bit was round 3, admittedly. But other than that, Team Princess has been able to rake in a lot of points, and that should keep them in very good position. And I would say maybe this would be enough to put them ahead of Freedom Rumble if Freedom Rumble does not step up their game in the next 2 rounds. But for Duo Barade, 2 rounds in a row they got knocked out by Matrix first. Their chances of making it into top 12 is really dwindling right now.
Yeah, I think they've almost guaranteed Metrix's position, considering that that's 4 points, especially down to where they are. Some people are going to be a little bit confused about this, so I'm going to try and explain this as well as I can. As you go down lower and lower, basically as you go down the leaderboard, points become far more valuable. So I think 4 points, if you're sitting at top 3, isn't going to be as impactful compared to 4 points for teams that are between 10th and 15th place. Those 4 points can make or break placements because it is so dang hard for those teams towards the lower end of the bracket to get those points to begin with, because they're already competing with these teams that have already qualified and are just basically playing for placement points rather than playing for top 12.
One is for the money and one is for the qualifications. And for the teams on the second half of the leaderboard, qualifying is an utmost priority for these guys. Epic, on the other hand, the representatives of Group C, had an okay round 3. Now they are starting off on a pretty decent note. Northeastern side at Council Hall. The closest team to them will be MND Diehard. Down south would be Secret Expert. GeekFam playing around Stone Ridge, AKO Steady Squad south of the sub. So we should be seeing a slower pace from now on.
I don't know, Husky, because I mean, looking at where GeekFam are currently pathing, there's a good chance they're actually going to maybe run into AKO, especially with where AKO is going as well. And this is going to be pretty devastating because we know for a fact that AKO, they really need these points. They cannot afford to be eliminated right off the bat from GeekFam again.
Oh yeah, absolutely not. I think for AKO, Steady Squad, these guys are... I actually don't have a phrase to describe them right now. I don't know what the identity of the team is. Again, the fragmentation of AKO Steady Squad seems to be more and more apparent as the days go by, where it felt like they have the most basic of teamwork that we see in all teams, but outside of that, it doesn't feel like AKO Steady Squad had a distinct playstyle that we can put our finger on. And
maybe they're also trying to identify their own identity, right? Because even if you play a league stage, you don't really know what's your signature playstyle until you spend a couple hundred hours playing together, even a couple thousand hours playing with a team. Like, people think like, oh, if you play with the team, it's so easy to try and figure out like what's your best playstyle. No, that's not how it works. It is so difficult to actually figure out what works for you.
I think for AKO, well, back in the days, it's just AKO. They don't have the Steady Squad branding to their name. But I think this is probably the hardest league stage for the AKO brand up to now. And even if we kind of look at them individually, AKO and Steady Squad as their own entity, this merging has been pretty interesting, but also at the same time, it has been the hardest league stage for them because they are really struggling. And thank goodness that they have a good foothold of that 11th place. Metrics hasn't been able to prove that they are good enough to catch up, and Duo Barada has just dropped the balls 2 rounds in a row. So AKO Steady Squad is more or less guaranteed at top 12 unless a miracle happens tomorrow. But right now, our eyes on GeekFam. They have run straight into Team Princess, and GeekFam, if they see you, they are going straight for the jugular. And Team Princess, they know that they can't run away. And they will just try to buy some distance, get some cover, and get ready for the ensuing fight. Because Ejasa, he has been tagged super low by Fikri, and Taken decides to stick his foot in. And Ejasa is going to be knocked down. Orin will find Jiminho as Team Princess gets cut by a separate team. You can see the Secret Expert. They're feeling really good about it. But can they get some finishes? Or at least can they get some members from GeekFam? Because Man04 and Orin are going for the cleanup. Ejasa hiding behind the glue wall will also be eliminated as Team Princess have nothing left to their name. There should be at least 3 dead. Team Princess completely torn apart as Orange continues that onslaught, and he has that nade in hand, and we know how good he is with that nade, and he is right on the money. Jiminho on the floor, and there is almost barely signs of life left for Team Princess. Orange fails the grappling, but it doesn't really matter. He will do it once more with the shotgun in hand. He's ready to go in for the kill. Taken will find Exact as Secret Expert really chips in with all of those kills. The swing around the corner with the kill. Orin, the second kill for his team. Geekfam finds 3 on Team Princess as Man04 will have to try and scramble to get Exact back up. Meanwhile, Metrics finds themselves near this refinery area. They will be gate capped by members of Secret Expert, but they also stole a kill away by taking off Fikri away from Secret Expert.
Oh, I think a lot of people were not expecting Team Princess to be eliminated so quickly, but I think it's just a trend. Like, whoever runs into Geek Fam is inevitably just going to be taken out. And it didn't help as well that Secret Expert were actually helping them as well, right? Because the Team Princess, I mean, if it was just a 4-on-4, we could have maybe seen a completely different outcome from that engagement. But with Taken also just sort of coming in with those pot shots, right? Just helping out Geek Fam and really causing a lot of issues for Team Princess. The team, I mean, you could see it, right? The team was in disarray. It was like, do we have to go and fight Geek Fam? Like, how do we deal with Secret Expert at the same time? They just didn't have any solution to cover their backside whilst also dealing with Geek Fam in the same time. So it really sucked for Team Princess fans, but I mean, at least it's not a terrible day for the team. I think they did well enough to make up for this, I want to say, awful round, really. I mean, it could have been better, but the team's secured enough points for themselves. So I guess it's just going to be how they do tomorrow.
So
But
kind
it's normal, Geek Fam, right? Just whoever they run into, bye-bye, see you tomorrow.
kind of a feels bad for Geek Fam as well because they did all the hard work and it was Team Princess. Well, okay, fine. Team Princess also did some work, but Geek Fam did most of it, and they didn't, get all the kills. They even, I believe, lost one of their members to Metrics, who was just at the right place at the right time. Oh, they lost 2, in fact. They lost Fikri and Exact. But the 2 remaining members are individually gifted. You have Orin with his grenades, and of course Man04 with his dueling capability. So Geek Fam are by no means out of the game just yet, but they are in the hot zone. Secret Expert watching over them. New Gang just spotted them as well. Matrix knows where Geek Fam is situated, right in the center of the circle. So as good as they are mechanically, this will be a tough place to get out of.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if they just try and sit there, just pray nothing happens. But, you know, it's Free Fire. A lot of stuff is going to be happening. But that middle section of the map, though, is a absolute hot zone. There are so many teams there. It'd be so risky to even show yourself until the circle's actually moved and you are forced to move to a different location. But let's switch on over here to AKO. Now, this is a team that really struggled in that previous round. I do hope this round the AKO are going to be able to pick themselves up some points. I would love to see these guys get a booyah. I feel like a booyah would be so impactful for this team this late into the league stage because they desperately need those points.
Yeah, and I think if they get a booyah in any round, either today or tomorrow, they will guarantee themselves top 12, and perhaps it would affect, you know, the prize money that they walk away after the league stage is done and dusted. They're already in a decent spot, I would say, but that booyah would be the guarantee. Meanwhile, New Gang again runs into EWG. These 2 teams somehow have this inseparable bond where they always have to fight against one another, and Tua will find the first knock onto Kenzie, and that will be a good secure. New Gang have already lost their first member despite having that higher ground. It seems like they're not winning those gunfights, and Vikain will also have to back off. They do have Asip on the flank, but Monito finds a massive nade. Drax now finds himself caught in between Jason's crosshair, and I don't think New Gang has any more gas left in the tank. They will be slowly overrun as Drax is found, and that will be 3 dead for New Gang. EWG takes control of Refinery.
That's going to be a big win there for EWG. Yes, they didn't get the 4 kills. I mean, we still have 1 player left here on NWG, but I think for EWG, they're going to be pretty happy with themselves. They're in a very good place, especially when you're working with a refinery. You got a lot of buildings to work with. You've got plenty of cover. You also have the high ground. So you're going to have a lot of vision to work with. And having that information as well as you also try and calculate where the circle is going to end up is going to be very beneficial to the team, because once you have an idea on where some of these teams are coming from, then you can always think ahead and think, okay, these teams are here, they're likely going to path here, where is the absolute best location to be? And then you try and make your way to that place. But Asip
mean-
Asip, has he been spotted?
I think he has. MND Diehard spent the entire game up to this point just avoiding conflict, but well, Asip would be a consolation kill, I suppose, as he has been completely located, just trying to run around
Playing tag.
MND Diehard. Well, he does see one at the corner of this building. Asip,
Oh,
he doesn't get
oh no.
sprayed down right, and Trixie will get a free one for himself.
It's gonna be a nice little pick up there. And that was actually MND's first kill as well. So it's gonna be a pretty big win for the team. Sitting in 8th. Well, technically they're not 8th. I mean, they're one of 8 teams remaining. But so far, so good for this team. And it looks like we're going to be looking at a northwest circle here. And we're going to have to see what happens with these teams on the outer rim. We've got AKO that's going to have to come in. I think it's a relatively safe entry for AKO as well. So we've got to keep an eye out for them. But Epic are going to have to contest Metrics if they want to get in there.
Yes. Secret Expert should be able to gatekeep some teams as well, but AKO has to clear this route in. And Osha, look at it, his crosshair is lined up. Just waiting for Monito to overstep. Maybe he can get the pick off. You can see Shah is very patient with that trigger. Now, he might have missed that chance, potentially missed that chance, but you can see that Monito, he's coming back for more. They really want to hold on to Refinery for as long as the circle allows them to. So we'll be looking at least 50 more seconds before EWG might be forced to move. But Monito, he's making a lot of noise on that Refinery. And he's being tracked by Shah as well. Meanwhile, Metrics sees Epic making their move just into Bayfront, and that is just where Metrics is. So with 6 kills to the name, they're looking to put 4 more on that tally. We'll see if Epic can get through.
That's going to be pretty tough, but we'll take a look at them a little bit later on. We're actually looking at Secret Expert here, who are looking to gatekeep Devora, and I don't know. I mean, you've got Taken. I think Taken is going to be able to actually eliminate this team. I just don't see a safe entry point for Devora. I mean, they can sit on the outskirts, but they're going to take critical amounts of damage for this.
So much firepower from the side of Secret Expert. You can see that they're tanking the blue zone, they're taking hits from all these bullets. They have enough blue wall to make it into the building, but they need to make a quick pit stop to patch themselves back up. And afterwards, what do they have left in the tank? More running across this open field. This is just perfect for Secret Expert. A firing range made and got sent by RNG. Because Secret Expert, they do sustain some damage of their own, but Metrics will now engage Epic, and they've already lost 2. The bullets run up for Joe. Oh, he has to reload in the middle of the fight. An absolute tragedy for Metrics. That could have been a possible turnaround, and Riven is left out to dry. Epic might have been able to do this. There's nothing left for Riven, and Metrics get wiped out in the most tragic way.
Wow.
That one reload from Troop costed them the fight, and Epic makes it through, but now they face off against Devora. Can they make it 2 in a row? That nade from Gym Quest will not connect, at least for now, but it certainly gives Epic some information, and Epic has some room to work with. A third nade from Gym Quest. That one's not clean enough to take out the members of Epic, and you can see that both Ash and Cyber have been knocked down. Oh, Ashton, with 1 nade and a UMP.
They need to
Fight
move.
2 knocks. Ash gets brought back up, but Epic, they are now in the lead. They have the momentum. They feel it in themselves. The win is with them, and Devora will lose 3. Neki tries to run to safety, has a couple of blue walls to work with, tries to trace Siga back, but it will be Epic with 4 more. But they get 7 kills, but maybe at the cost of the rest of the team. That blue zone is starting to tick down all of these members from the side of AKO Steady Squad as well. They're running straight into the Lion's Den, and they want to face off against EWG. Twa is going to be knocked and eliminated as Arjun cleans it up, but look at who is there. Secret Expert chipping in as well. Kick Fam from the high ground, really messing up the chances of EWG. AKO Steady Squad finds a kill, but can they even contest this?
Dude, this is absolutely perfect for Geek Fam because their tower is in the circle. Now, I mean, we've got Secret Expert underneath them. They're going to be completely fine with this, but once the circle gets really small, I'm really curious to see how Geek Fam are going to approach this because getting down from this tower isn't going to be easy. They need to use the grappling hook to actually cushion their fall. And when you use the grappling hook, right, you get stuck in an animation. So you can't do anything. And that's where Secret Expert could potentially just cut them down as they're coming down. So we'll see what happens. But so far, Geek Fam looking fantastic. 7 kills, and they're just getting more and more. AKO. Rainy hell on AKO. Oh no!
Welcome to the Kalahari buffet for Geek Fam. And like I said early on, these two guys are gifted, and Orin, he's gonna make the first move towards the container. Trying to go for the flank. Ibnu sees him. Who's out the pan? It's gonna be Orin against Ibnu. Who will do it? Orin with 49 health. Breaks the glue wall. They have Battle Force back him up. And Geek Fam, with perfect synergy, finds themselves in the top 3 with 9 kills in the name. And it's just down to these two members, the 2 star players. MND Diehard has been knocked out, and Geek Fam against Secret Expert. Can Secret Expert finally get a booyah off of the hands of Geek Fam? They've been in this situation so many times, and every single time it's Man04 who makes the clutch happen. But Secret Expert, they have the numbers, they have the info, they have the position. They just need to make this happen. Geek Fam, with Orin and Man04 slowly inching in. Park Haji will be the first point of contact. He's gonna be able to win that fight. Orin getting down as well. Man04 will get the trade back. The rest of Secret Expert running uphill. Man04 gets the first finisher. It's now gonna be a 1 versus 2, but Orin will have enough time to get picked back up. 2 versus 2 again. Nga is gonna be the second challenger, but he gets completely obliterated, and Geek Fam might be crushing the hopes of Secret Expert for another time. Oh, he's taken again! Down on the cliff. He has no more health to work with, and Geek Fam makes it happen once more. Another sad and heartbreaking ending for Secret Expert. They just could not overcome their demons, and Geek Fam finds the booyah to close off the night.
Oh my god. I'm speechless. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what to say, Husky. I'm speechless.
Every single time, man. Every single time when we see these two teams in the final standoff, Secret Expert.
Look, they're just laughing. They're just like, hey.
And who can blame them, right? 2 guys, Orin and Man04, completely winning. I mean, a bit of luck and a lot of skills. They have the circle, they have the tower, and they make such good calls to end the round. But it is tough for Secret Expert. This is not the first time for them.
It's not just that, right? I think another thing we also need to remember is that they had to go up against Man04.
Yeah.
This is the guy, okay? This is the guy nobody wants to fight face to face, okay? You do not go into a boxing ring with Man04, okay? If someone ever offers you $1 million that you can beat Man04, you say, no, I will take my pride and I will leave.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
It feels like Geek Fam is the team that stops Secret Expert every single time. When it's these two teams, Secret Expert loses, and every time it's Taken. It's Taken who is the last man alive. And oh man, if this is an anime series, Secret Expert would be that one character that always loses at the final leg of the race. It's so heartbreaking to watch for them, but it's the reality, right? Yeah, it's the rival, right? They're the protagonist. Geek Fam is the antagonist, but they always lose when it matters the most, right? It's so tough for Secret Expert. But I guess because it's Geek Fam, you can settle for second place, but some part of their pride must be hurt.
Yeah, it's just wow. I mean, if anything, I just want to say I'm really impressed. Like, Geek Fam are just such a terrifying team. I don't know if there's anyone that can even compete with them for first place. Like, I was sitting here thinking, okay, we're in the final week. We're probably going to be seeing some cheese. We're going to be seeing some teams actually drop in rather unusual drop points to try and catch out some of these other teams, right? Because this is the absolute best time to do it. Once you have this information of where these teams like to drop. But it's just, yeah, it ends up being the Geek Fam show so far, especially for these Group B matches. But now I'm really excited for A versus C, because now we're going to be taking Geek Fam out of the equation. Who is going to be the biggest winner for these next 2 upcoming matches?
And I think right now our eyes would be on teams like Blacklist International, on teams like Freedom Rumble. Admittedly, Freedom Rumble hasn't had the best opening, but we've seen them been in this position before. So I would say Blacklist International and Toaduck are kind of in the lead for Group A, the most consistent team so far. Whereas for Group C, we did see some signs of life, I suppose, from Metrics and AKO Steady Squad. For round number 4, it was unlucky for AKO themselves because they had no way of dealing with Geek Fam. But we still need to see a bit more from Group C, unfortunately. I mean, Group A, they're just on another level.
I mean, if there's a time to shine, it's gonna be now, Husky. We're almost at the end of our second last day of the league stage. Now, teams from Group B, as we said already, okay, they're gonna go for a break. We'll be seeing them again tomorrow, but chances are I wouldn't be surprised if these guys end up watching the games as well, so that they can sort of figure out, okay, what's the plan for next, what's the plan for tomorrow? What's our plan of attack to try and climb up that leaderboard? And I know for a fact that Geek Fam is going to be on everybody's radar. They're going to be. I would not be surprised if someone starts researching. Okay, where does Geek Fam normally drop? We are going to drop on the other side of the map. Okay, we are not dropping on any of Geek Fam's drop zones. Okay, minus that. Very quickly, we're going to speak about Geek Fam. 23 points. They get 12 points from the Booyah. They got 11 kills this round, to nobody's surprise. Epic, though, gets second place. This was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, they got 7 kills, and I think they finished in 6th place, but they still got decent amount of kills. Most of the kill points went over to Geek Fam, and a lot of these guys surrendered themselves to the blue zone. So it's kind of a drought thanks to the blue zone itself, but Geek Fam was able to make the best out of it. And to your point of teams researching Geek Fam and avoiding them, I see that happening. Historically, there's only been one team that has been able to hot drop with Geek Fam and actually win that contest, and that team is Bloody Head from the Philippines. And it was a situation where, yeah, they are not here now, and that time they were in like second last place. They had nothing to lose, but they were able to outclass Geek Fam. So it was an isolated incident, but I don't think any team can replicate that success. So Geek Fam, they should feel very powerful in where they are right now. Definitely securing that first place. Todak would struggle to catch up for sure, and all the other teams, they just have to fight for scraps, I suppose.
Yeah, it just seems like that's really the case when you're playing up against these teams in Group B, but we'll see Group B tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to this next matchup though. So for people that are just tuning into the broadcast, we've just finished our 4th game of the day. Group B is now done and dusted. If you would like to catch up with any of these teams from Group B, you can either tune into tomorrow's broadcast or you can watch the replay of the games today. But we are jumping back to Group A. Group A are now back in the ring going up against Group C. And we are also going to be jumping back onto Bermuda. But very quickly, if you didn't watch any of the games for today, we finished our first game with Team Princess securing the Booyah on Bermuda. Secret Expert able to lock in that second game on Kalahari. And then, as you can see, rounds 3 and 4 was a Geek Fam domination, both on Bermuda and Kalahari.
Yeah, and I love the map recap, right? It just gives so much clarity to people who might have missed out the ending of any of these rounds, and just refreshes us to prepare ourselves for the upcoming rounds. And Geek Fam, they have hit the 400 mark. 400 points in first place, Todak in second, and the lead is widening by so much. Todak only has 334 points. Of course, they are also leading by a lot. If we look at Team Princess in third place with 278, they've overtaken Freedom Rumble, who has 268 points. Secret Expert with 260, Blacklist International with 239, Icon with 233, Epic 228, and of course Sorry Raw makes it into top 9. Well, they still are in top 9 actually, Epic overtaking them. Sorry Raw has 214 points, but for most of these teams, they have 2 rounds left. Team Princess, Geek Fam, these guys, they're done for the day. Secret Expert as well.
And then, of course, we do need to take a look at the bottom of the brackets. EWG and AKO Steady Squad are actually currently tied for 10th place, both with 207 points. And then in 12th place, we have Metrics. Now, speaking of Metrics, we do need to talk about that last game that happened, right? The whole, the Metrics dropping in with Dua Baratic. I don't know if it was Dua Baratic's idea or Metrics' idea, but Metrics were the big winners from that because they actually deleted a big contender for 12th place. And it makes me wonder, with the remaining games, right, is there even a chance for Dua Baratic to even overtake Metrics? Because that gap is just getting so big now.
Yeah, you would need Metrics to have a horrible game for the rest of week 4, and Dua Baratic to have at least 10 points per game. I would say the bare minimum to even have a chance to catch up to Metrics. And from what we saw, I think Dua Baratic's days are definitely numbered because they've lost 2 rounds in a row with 0 points. And of all the teams to die to, they died to Metrics. It really stings if
Your
you are.
rival.
Yeah, it's like the team that you need to beat. and you lost 2 times in a row, and you
Yeah.
had to be the first team to get knocked out. Though the most impressive thing for FFCM right now is that you can see that the level of competition is so much more intense compared to the previous league. Previously, the highest record I think was like 600 points by the end of the league stage. I don't think GeekFam can make it to 600 points for by the end of this league stage because they only have 4 games left. But 400 is still a very
that a
impressive
challenge?
achievement.
I'm very sure someone's listening. They're just like, is that a challenge?
50 points per game. I mean, bring it. Like I highly doubt you can get 50 points a game unless like half the lobby dies to you. Then maybe a yes.
It's like I have a group discussion. It's like, all right, guys, we're gonna feed everything to Geek Fam. I'm kidding. Speaking of Geek Fam, though, we're gonna take a look at our MVP from our previous match and look at that score. It is the one, the only Mano4 with 12 kills from those past 2 games, 9 assists, 4,614 damage, and a 67.6% hit rate.
Yeah, he is
This guy's a monster.
the ultimate duelist, the guy that can rush into the line of fire and win those fights. And we saw him clutch so many times, and even in such a precarious position in round number 4 with Orin now, Mano4 did not hesitate at all. I mean, the communication is definitely there, and I think it is fair to call him Agent 004 right now for GeekFan. He is the hitman for the team. Just way too good.
That'd be such a good nickname, though. Like if he decides to go for a change, I think that's actually a really cool nickname. I'm looking at for Agent 04 next season. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be up to him, but we're going to be jumping up into our next matchup very soon, Husky. So we're going to say bye-bye to Groups B. That includes GeekFam, and say hello to Group A. They're back on the stage now, competing up against Group C for our final 2 games of the day, and we're going to jump into Bermuda very soon. Now, I think you've spoken quite a lot about how teams in Group C, they're sort of the side characters of the movie. All of the stars and the Hollywood actors and whatnot, they're all in Groups A and B. Are we just going to sort of see the same thing again for these next 2 games, do you feel? It's just going to be like all these Goliaths eliminating all these Davids?
Yeah, like, judging by what we saw just now in match 3 and 4, it kind of feels like we will see the same thing. The only team that has any semblance of life are probably AKO Steady Squad and Epic. Metrics is more of they take out Duo Barade and they disappear from the radar, right? They get wiped out by a secondary team. M&D Die Hard, I don't think that they're interested in contesting in any fights. We saw them playing really safe and they only take fights when they have to. So that kind of puts them out of the picture. They are not taking those proactive actions. And I can understand why, because they aren't going to make it to top 12 anyways. But I would love to see them try, right? You have nothing else to lose. Just give it your all. Play freely. Maybe we will see something from M&D Die Hard. Maybe they will affect the eventual standings, the fight for top 12 as we head into Bermuda. Group A rejoins the fray. It's going to be between them and Group C for the last 2 rounds of the evening.
Oh boy, our second last game of the day. And I do wonder if we're going to be seeing some shenanigans, because I think we've always been hyping up the possibility of a hot drop. I'm gonna see it. Not gonna say anything.
Not
I could
again.
be jinxing it. but we'll see what happens. Are they okay? They actually.
I think they are.
They're doing
oh
it.
no, they're doing it.
God.
Oh boy, have you guys not learned anything? I mean, Duo Barade gets 1 down at least. It's a fairer fight. So they lost Rish. Some tags on the Mocha. Crown is not happy with how the last 2 rounds have been going. Metrics going on a tear, but Akims wins his fight. Finally, Duo Barade shows some signs of life. They're gonna, dance. Yeah, they deserve it after being beaten down so hard by Metrics. They deserve some celebratory dance. And of course, Rai, last man standing. Duo Barade, you can't let your guard down just yet. Rai fights the first one. He doesn't have any medkits to work with, so Stray Bullet will be able to take him out. But still, you need to be careful. And finally, Duo Barade, they make it happen. They have done it. They have overcome Metrics. And of course, you can see that the relief in the actions of Duo Barade as they dance on the bodies of Metrics.
That's okay. So this was actually a big thing. So for people that are wondering, like, why is this whole Metrics and Duo Baradic skirmish such a big deal for these teams? Now, it's because Metrics and Duo Baradic, these 2 teams currently occupy 12th and 13th place. Duo Baradic is the one specifically taking 13th. Now, after what happened in the previous round, I mean, I think both Husky and I were a little bit concerned for this team, right? Because the chance of them actually making it up to 12, it's possible, but it means the team needs to ensure that they're able to secure a reasonable number of points for these next upcoming rounds, because Metrics are also they've been consistent, right? Metrics is a consistent team. They have been able to get points, whereas for Duo Braddock, it's very hit or miss, right? I mean, we've seen it. We've seen this team just die with nothing. And especially when you're in 13th place, you can't afford that anymore. You
And
either
this-
need consistency or you need a big drop of points. And we haven't seen that big drop of points.
Yeah. And I think the worst part was that they only got 3 points out of the 4 members of Metrics, and they lost 2. It's not the cleanest of challenge early on. I would be mad if, you know, the 12-13 place fight just comes down to 2 teams hot dropping each other every round. I have issues with that. Please please do not let it come down to that. It would be a bit anticlimactic. I want to see more from these 2 teams. Like,
I want to see whose idea is it to do the hot drops? Like, who's been doing the research on where these teams are dropping? Like, is it
who is
Duo Braddock?
tracking their enemies, right? Like,
Is it Duo Braddock that's actually the one engaging into Metrics, or is it the other way around? Is it Metrics that's trying to assassinate Duo Braddock to try and ruin their chances of getting 12? Like, that's information that I would love to know.
if it
But
comes
clearly
down to that,
they're not going to tell us, so we'll just have to guess.
if it comes down to that, we might as well put them in a ring and let them box it out, right? I think that's more fair.
Yeah. Maybe to. I'm just trying to think. How do we do this in a way
We can-
where
we can
it's like,
add, like,
no.
We can add an extra episode to what we've been seeing so far during the break. Then
I have a brilliant idea. We need to pit them against one another in, you know, the mini games we've been seeing during the breaks.
yeah.
I think that'll be fantastic. Just
That'll be
put them up against each other and play some mini games. Anyways, we'll leave those 2 teams to it. Duo Braddock, they still have 2 players, so it's still going to be a pretty tough game for them. But looking at where everyone else is, it doesn't look like any other teams are really hunting around. Everyone's more focused on trying to loot. Although we are seeing some movement from AKO. So maybe it could be AKO to try and make this jump happen. But this circle is a very far southeast.
We might end up with some bodies of water at the close to the final stages. I think.
Do you think so?
I think it might happen. I'm surprised that
think-
Sentosa is completely empty.
Empty?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I'm just going to make a guess and say that the circle is probably going to end near Puchinok, I think. We'll find out.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh.
Decides against that.
No, I think it was a
There we
misplay.
go.
Yeah.
What did they call it? The flying fox? Well, not exactly the flying fox, but
Zipline, isn't it?
yeah,
Zipline?
Ah, yeah, flying fox is a bit different.
Flying Fox is for fun, okay? You can die on this Flying Fox, Huskies. This is not for fun. Although it looks like we're actually going to be seeing 2 teams going up against one another. It's Icon chasing Sorry Raw.
These 2 teams are fighting for, you know, their placements in the top 9. I mean, Sorry Raw is at the lower end, you know, in 9th place 214 compared to Icon, who is in 7th place with 233. And so far Icon admittedly has been a bit more consistent than Sorry Roar in some of these fights, but again, a lot of it comes down to the star player Mios, and so far throughout the day throughout the evening he hasn't had the best of games. They did have that one round where they completely trashed Geek Fam by eliminating them early on, but that's pretty much it. We'll see if they can take on Sorry Roar, because it feels like these 2 teams are running in the exact same direction, with Icon tailing Sorry Roar from behind.
Yeah, we'll see if it's actually going to be a very successful jump here from Icon, but
Oh boy, they
so
see
far
Sorry
I
Roar.
think Sorry Raw are doing a pretty good job of actually juking though, because I was a little bit worried about them running down the hill, but it's going to be pretty difficult for Icon to actually do anything to Sorry Raw uphill now. So I think they might be able to give them the slip. It looks like it.
Yeah.
All it takes is for Sorry Raw to find a vehicle. If they find a vehicle, they are good.
Sorry Roar are slowly dispersing as well, so this might bite them in the back if Icon gets some isolated pickup, because there's not really much ground left to work with. These 2 teams are pretty much at the edge of the map,
I think they have a decoy. See how they have one player at the very end? I think that might be a decoy player.
Flame is running on literally the very end of the map, so he won't be able to join his team if Sorry ends up fighting Icon. But oh, New Boys is gonna make contact with Imira, and of course you chips in as well. Sorry were not able to get everyone out of it, but with that scapegoat, hopefully Sorry will now be able to completely disengage from Icon. They will need some time to regroup with Flame because he is on the very edge of the cliff. So he will take some time to get up onto the high ground. But Sorry it seems like they have already been able to slip and make themselves away to safety.
I think that's really all you can do, right, if you're Sorry Raw, because if you try and get everybody out, I think there was a good chance that Icon would have been able to catch up. So just having the decoy player saying, all right, you can have one person, and because they were so focused on killing that one person, that actually the whole team stopped. So I'm not going to be able to pursue any longer. We'll see what happens later on. I'm wondering if that play is going to hurt Icon in the long run, because they were chasing for quite a while, and they only got one player out of it, which, I mean, it's okay. I mean, you're getting a kill, but you could have used that time to loot elsewhere, maybe move somewhere else, look for a vehicle. We'll find out later. We're going to take a look at Freedom Rumble's point of view, and Husky, I'm a bit worried. If they make any noise, there's Blacklist just around the corner.
They have 2 race cars that they can work with. And there we go. They're about to make their move, I think, away from Blacklist International.
Ooh.
And oh boy, that's an explosion. But it's not Freedom Rumble's vehicle, it is No Escape Umbrella who is in the crosshair. iPass does have a nade. Cobra lets his loose first. And he's gonna get tagged, but only a measly 35 health. It's not too big of a deal, at least not to Cobra. And he is single-handedly suppressing No Escape Umbrella with his shots. And the rest of Blacklist, they're not even here yet. But this should draw Blacklist's attention away from Freedom Rumble. And No Escape Umbrella actually has a different team to deal with, and it's Hero behind him. So No Escape Umbrella, they're backing off from Blacklist, but they now have to fight Hero. So it's a lose-lose situation for No Escape Umbrella. Maybe Blacklist can get a couple of third-party pick-outs from this engage.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty tough one here, but so far it looks like No Escape are actually going to be able to get out of range of Blacklist. But you can see Cobra, he's looking to pursue. I really want to see what's happening over there, though. Like, what's happening with those two teams? Is No Escape able to get any knocks? But so far, I'm looking at the kill feed. I don't think anyone has died. But Kodak are actually in a skirmish.
Yeah, and he's going to be up against Freedom Rumble. A tough nut to crack as Spark gets completely destroyed. No chance of getting out of this. No Escape Umbrella only has 3 members
players
to work with, but they ran into Icon instead. And Hero finally pops their head out from the tower to get some picks from the high ground. Of course, Leo will be able to get straight down iPads as well. No Escape Umbrella left with Cass standing on his feet, and he will have no chance. Using the up. Meanwhile, Todak against Freedom Rumble, the fight continues with Todak getting 1 kill for themselves. So it's a 3 versus 3, but it will quickly become a 2 versus 3 as Shield gets knocked down. Hero goes for the swing, loses to Neptune in close range, and Upfix will be the only man standing, and Freedom Rumble will just completely destroy him from behind. Freedom Rumble gets 4.
Ooh, today's actually not Todak's day. It's quite surprising. I was expecting this team to do a little bit better, but they've been disassembled so far, and this is a really big win for Freedom Rumble as well, considering that the team's done pretty poorly today. I mean, they even ended with 0 points during one of their rounds, so I think if you're Freedom Rumble, you're going to be very happy with how everything's starting during this Game 3.
Yeah, Todak, like you said, that they definitely are having a pretty rough day. I think the best placement was it 3rd or 4th? I think that was round 1, and round 2 wasn't.
It was just one game. Yeah. And then after that, it was just a big fat 0. I remember seeing a 0 for this team. I actually felt very bad for them. But oh my god, Husky, look at the density of teams towards the northwest side of that circle, right? Because there's only one team in Sentosa. Everyone else is on the mainland.
Yeah, Freedom Rumble.
Okay, what would happen if the circle ends up being on Sentosa's beach?
That would be fun.
That would be wild.
I think there's a possibility. Either it might go more towards the mainland or south of Kota Tua. We'll find out in, I think, yeah, around phase 4. I think that's when we will see where the circle ends up. But we saw both Sorry Roar and Freedom Rumble making their way down south to the Sentosa Island. They will take refuge there. It will be a bit safer. Now it really comes down to the circle to dictate where they need to go next. Obviously, that A truck has been completely destroyed by AKO Steady Squad. Mio just finds a good shot onto Trixie and MND Diehard. Again, a team that just wants to play a pacifist role in the game is now forced to engage with Icon, team that is currently on fire. They've already have 6 points in the back, and they're looking for more. MND Diehard completely separated from one another. It's not the first time we see this from MND Diehard, and it certainly won't be the last. Flame will find Slayer on the halfway point of the cliff, and we can safely say that MND Diehard will not win this fight.
No, I don't think so, unfortunately. So Icon should be able to secure themselves a couple kills, but actually taking a look at the other side of the map, I'm wondering if Icon might be caught with their pants down. Now we actually see this next circle. It's on the beach, Husky. I mean, you said it would be funny if it was going to be a river circle, and I mean, your wish is kind of being granted so far. It's not confirmed, but we might actually end in a body of water.
Teams might start holding the bridge leading to Sentosa just because of that, and I'm keen to see which team would do it. Freedom Rumble is the closest team to that area, so maybe they would take point there, but it also leaves them pretty exposed because there's only one way in and out. Epic, in the meantime, will be gatekeeping the members of Duo Barade. AKO Steady Squad also helped them out with that early on, so Duo Barade will find it pretty difficult to make it farther into the circle. The next point of contact would be Blacklist International. They are right on top of Kota Tua. There is a zip line for Epic to work with if they want to take it straight into Sentosa, but that means that they will risk running straight into Freedom Rumble, who was last seen around that area on the other side of the map. It seems like these teams, they might not have much of a choice to work with. Epic might have to skirt around the edges and just try to play under the bridge like we expected.
Christ, look at that circle. It is smack dab in the middle of the river. Now, Blacklist International actually trying to catch some of these players on the side of Epic. Can't quite get the vehicle though, but instead we're going to switch over to Icon. They actually have Hero cornered in this little tower, and I think this might just be it. We've seen so many times where teams think they're safe up here, but all it takes is just one grenade to catch the entire team.
Yeah, MND Diehard not happy with what Icon did just now, and they are putting in some pressure. Look at the Atong taking out New Boys again. AKO Steady Squad on the other end will have to take on Blacklist International, and those blue walls, they will not stand for long. In fact, a wall bang comes through from Phoenix. They will be able to kill out Mr. D. Arjimbu on the ground as well, as AKO Steady Squad left with 2 members. Not sure if they would go for Arjim at this point. The blue zone is taking them down, as Flame on the other side will be able to take down Rembo. AKO Steady Squad should be meeting the end pretty soon, as Zero tries to go for the jiggle, but that is going to be it. Ali with the final shot to finish off AKO Steady Squad. Duo Barade will be the next on the chopping block, as they don't have much to work with. Hero getting eliminated by Icon, as we expected. Kimmy, no, that's not how you hide. That's not the definition of hiding in plain sight. Not what you wanted anyway. So Duo Barade out.
Wow, this looks like it might end up being a Blacklist game because they're
Look at the circle.
The circle, okay, no, not gonna lie, the circle's kind of dumb, but
Oh boy.
it is a very advantageous circle for Blacklist International. And everyone else though, look at them, as you said, right, everyone was clustered on this bridge and all hell is breaking loose. Sorry Raw, actually trying to keep themselves alive and able to get this knockout here onto a big player in Freedom Rumble, actually eliminating the team altogether. I mean, what's the plan here? Because you're already on the bridge, you've got no way to get to that zip line. Yes.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Are you just time to drown? Oh my gosh.
Look at this guy. Look at Atang. Oh man. Oh no. Oh god. What a... Yeah, that must sting.
Surfing on money.
He can definitely die in peace. And the blue zone takes him out as well. You know what this reminds me of? The final chapter of Left 4 Dead 2, the parish, where you have to cross the bridge and with a horde of zombies. This kind of feels like it. They have to fight their way through that bridge, and they're sorry Raw to do it, but we're now gonna keep our eyes on Epic and Blacklist International with Asher and Downing Mirror. They did lose Coco, so this should be a 3 versus 3 as Shark. He's trying to outrun the blue zone, but you gotta make haste because Cobra, he is taking a point on the other end. And Epic, they Raw, they finally touched ground, finally touched grass, and make it into the safe zone. So we are gonna get a pretty intense final circle. It's not gonna be easy for these teams. Blacklist International, they have full control of the high ground. I have no idea how Sorry Roar and Epic are gonna do this, but they have to try regardless. Ali knows exactly where these guys are, and the other two members of Blacklist International, Cobra and Phoenix, are on the low ground. They have Epic and Sorry Roar completely pinned down as Epic gets rounded up by Shark, but Cobra has a grenade launcher, and this round is pretty much done and dusted. Sorry Roar out in second place, and Blacklist International finally nails a booyah for themselves.
It was River Circle, and I think the easiest way to describe the endgame, it was just perfect. It was the perfect Blacklist circle, right? Their positioning was on point. They were always within the circle. These other teams, they tried to make these risky predictions, thinking that maybe it was going to end in the middle of the river, maybe it would have landed on the other side of the bridge, but because it landed right in front of Blacklist, it was so easy for them to basically just gatekeep all these other teams coming in, because one of the things that really sucks about a river circle is that there's not a lot of cover. If you're coming in from the water, there's no trees in the water, there's no rocks in the water, you don't really have anywhere to hide. So you're essentially just a sitting duck that's going to be shot down. And these teams that tried to use the bridge as leverage to put themselves in a better position, the circle ended up being so far away from the bridge that by the time the new circle popped up and they realized where it was, Blacklist were already camping the circle, and it was just it was a game of one of those carnival games where you just shoot all the ducks, right? Like they just had line of sight on everybody, because again, it was just, there's no trees. It's so barren down there.
I think the saddest part was Icon getting eliminated by M&D Diehard in such a fashion while they were trying to swim their way to safety. I think M&D Diehard definitely held some grudges, and Atong just hunted all of them down. Icon, excuse me, would have been able to make it slightly farther if they didn't get chased down by M&D Diehard. But nonetheless, this is the highlight reel. We finally see Duo Barade winning their very first hot drop against Metrics. The score now between the head-to-head of these two teams is 2-1. It's still in favor of Metrics, but at least for Duo Barade, they can give themselves a pat on the back. Of course, Icon also had a tremendous round. They ended the round with 9 kills. Could have been more if, again, Atong didn't hunt them down in the river. Toda didn't have much of a game as Freedom Rumble were able to overrun them from the get-go.
So we're now down to our final game of the day as well. I think Blacklist going to be really happy with themselves to be able to secure so many points in this round, because they were just, all the kills were funneled to them anyway. We've got Kalahari coming up next, and we know for a fact that Blacklist, this is a team that thrives on Kalahari. They're so good at that map. It's kind of crazy. Do you think it's just going to be a similar situation to Geek Fam, where they're just going to dominate these next two maps? Because normally for Blacklist, right, you don't expect this team to get back-to-back booyahs because something happens, but now there's no Geek Fam to worry about.
Yeah, and I think Blacklist should have an easier time because, again, I think it's because it's against Group C. I do hope other teams step up. We don't have Team Princess, we don't have Geek Fam, we certainly don't have Secret Expert left in the picture, so Blacklist is that one team alongside Freedom Rumble that can pose some sort of challenge. But this is the round standing. Blacklist International with the booyah at 8 kills, getting themselves 20 points, followed by Icon with 15, Sorry Roar with 13, M&D Diehard 10, same with Epic 10 as well, Freedom Rumble getting 9 points, and Duo Barade getting 7 for themselves.
Actually not too bad for Duo Barade. So it's not double digits. Ideally they would have loved to get double digits, but I think if anything they're going to be pretty happy with themselves. But I don't see this gap closing if they're only going to get 7 points in a round. Because, correct me if I'm mistaken, Husky, the gap's about 30 points, right? 30 points between Metrics and Duo Barade.
Yes, it's 31 points.
So to get 30 points for essentially what's going to happen is 5 games, okay? This next game going to be the last one for today and for tomorrow. Is Duo Barade going to be able to not only get 30 points, but also offset all these points that Metrics is going to get tomorrow and this next round?
Yeah, Metrics needs to have a horrendous final day, and Duo Barade needs to score. It needs to have mediocre games for their last 5 games
as well.
And maybe a booyah, right? The booyah would fast track their progress, but I completely agree. I think with how things are going for Metrics, they should be able to pump in a couple of points every round, no matter how bad it is. Even this round, they got 2 kill points despite getting ran at by Duo Barade, right? So it really says a lot of how Metrics was able to hold their ground against a foe like Duo Barade.
Yeah. So if anything, we've still got to keep an eye out on that race because again, it's top 12. Anything can happen. We're literally down to the wire now because after today, tomorrow is the last day of the league stage. After this, you're not going to be able to get any more points, and our top 12 teams will be locked in for that grand final. I'm really looking forward to it. And especially tomorrow, I think we're going to see some crazy stuff. But before then, let's talk a little bit more about this next upcoming game. It's Kalahari. We've spoken a little bit about Blacklist. Are there any other teams that you feel are going to be hot contenders on this map?
Honestly, I can't think of any. Again, Freedom Rumble probably that. Icon, I'd say. I think these two teams have the best chance of contesting Blacklist International. But even then, I would say Blacklist International has the advantage. Well, the good news for these teams is that Blacklist International hasn't really been performing too well on Kalahari, and I'm not talking about getting the booyah, it's just good performance, the performance in general on Kalahari hasn't really been at the peak for most rounds. So perhaps this is a sign that other teams can catch up to Blacklist.
Well, we'll have to see as we jump into our final game of the day. It's Kalahari for Groups A versus C, and we'll have to see who's going to get the final booyah of the day. Could it be a dark horse such as Duo Baradic to try and close this gap between them and Metrics? Could it be the Kings of Kalahari? Could it be Blacklist International? We'll only have to find out. But here are the team and their drop spots, and I'm not surprised!
Oh no! Why? Okay, here we go. Best of 5 between Duo Barade and Metrics. Head to it. Can Metrics close out this best of 5? This head-to-head has to end somewhere. Duo Barade, if you guys lose this, I don't want to ever see you guys hot drop into Metrics ever again because they've already lost one and it seems like they might lose more. Rich turns the corner but runs into 2 members. Just 2 down for Duo Barade. You guys, how are you guys not learning? What is this?
It's Metrics.
What is this? Oh my god.
I seriously think this is Metrics actually hunting down Duo Baradic.
Oh my
because
goodness.
these teams, these guys have literally dropped. This is the second time they dropped a refinery together. The second time. We saw this 2 games ago when we played on Kalahari, right? The first time we saw them hot drop together was on refinery. And I'm convinced it's Metrics that's doing this. I don't think it's Duo Baradic.
If it is Metrics, then I would say well played, right? They took the risk and they know that they can win. And I think it's just a fuse bad for Duo Barade at this point. They just could not escape Metrics. Oh
I think
boy.
another thing that's really painful for Duo Baradic too is that in that engagement, I think 1 or 2 of their players actually didn't have guns either.
Yeah.
So they were essentially just sitting ducks for Metrics to sort of shoot and kill and grab free pickoffs. So it was also just RNG.
I think it's the first time we saw a team that really wants to secure their spot in the top 12 just go for a hunt against the 13th place team and constantly hot drop them and take them out. I have never seen this before in any Battle Royale titles. Metrics is the first one who was doing it, and I guess they are doing it well, but if this is high school, they are the high school bullies, for sure. These guys have issues.
Oh,
You guys better watch out. Karma is gonna hit you guys in the grand finals for sure. Like,
I mean, I don't think they're bullies. I definitely think they're just playing smart, right? I mean, it's top 12. You're gonna guarantee yourself at least a little bit more money. I'm not gonna guess what they're going to come during grand finals, but they're guaranteeing themselves two drops, I guess. 2 financial drops, the league stage and then of course also the playoffs. But
how are you going to feel if you are a player of Duo Barade and this is just happening? Like right before your eyes.
It feels okay. I guess like the only thing we can really do is imagine what would happen if someone did this to us, right? I think I'd be pretty devastated and also frustrated. And also at the same time, maybe a little disappointed in myself because like the first time it happened, it's like, okay, whatever. It's like totally unexpected. But for it to happen 3 times in a row, like clearly something's happening.
4 times. It's actually 4.
Was it 4?
Yeah, the past 4 rounds. From round 3 up to now, it has been these 2 teams. Like
Well-
because every time we saw the radar during the flight, the
It
two
was the
teams already
same-
dropped, right?
the
I want to
same
see it from
places.
I want to see like from the very beginning when the teams actually start dropping off out the plane. I want to see who decides to drop first. Like, there's no way. Like I refuse to believe that Metric is tracking them down. Like I want to see it for myself. Well, Duo Barade are not out just yet, but they very well could be soon.
I mean, they're crippled. And look at this. I mean, Freedom Rumble could just run right into Kimi and end Duo Baradic's run here. Because I think, personally, I think if Duo Baradic just drops out right now, their chance of making it to top 12, I think, is gone. Right now, it's just a sliver of hope.
It feels like the end of the line for Duo Barade.
Yeah.
Like, oh boy. What a rough way to go out. Like this, I've never seen a team have a target that big on their backs, and it's not like, you know, second place trying to gun. It's not like Toda gunning for Geek Fam. It's just this petty squabble between.
It's
Metrics
not
and
okay. Hang on, it's not petty, right? Like something is on the line, and it's that grand final spot. So I can completely see like why a team would want to do this. And if anything, I think it's genius. Like this is the best time to do this kind of thing. Like just hot drop on a team that you know is going to be a massive competitor. So I just want to say props if Metrics is doing it. If Duo Baradic is doing it, I can also understand this mentality because literally, what do they have to lose now? They literally have nothing to lose. And if you didn't try now, then I don't think this team would have actually moved from 13th place. So I think the move is completely warranted. But for now, we're just going to see if Kimi... Do I know Kimi's there?
Don't think they do for now. Well,
It felt like they kind of did. Hang on.
yeah, too fast. His spidey senses are tingling. Just for a bit.
It's like the hairs on the back of his neck raises. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
someone's here.
Yes, someone's in the area. There are
Alright, let's take
certain battle royales that have characters that possesses these kind of abilities, like just this voice in your head that actually tells you if danger is nearby.
Well, I mean, some of these characters do have abilities like this too here, right? It's like you've got the drones that are able to pinpoint not who exactly is there, but it gives you an idea. It's like, okay, there are players within this vicinity.
One of my favorite
So-
one is the hacker's eyes.
Uh-huh.
It reveals like the lasting location where like your enemies are. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you need this information, especially if you're trying to go for kills. But speaking of kills, we could be seeing a skirmish here, and it's going to be No Escape up against Todak. I don't think Todak have any idea where No Escape is, but teams seem to be running in the exact same direction now. I think they know. I think they caught a glimpse of somebody from No Escape.
Yeah, and I think for Toda, they are still moving, so they won't be kind of caught. They won't be caught by No Escape umbrella, and hopefully it stays that way. Icon and Hero are gonna bump into each other again, and seems like Flame is gonna take the first couple of shots onto the members of Hero, and those blue walls are gonna be put up. But unfortunately, there's not much space for Hero to work with. Icon also getting shot from behind as well, so they are certainly not alone in this.
No, especially if you're playing in a battle royale. I mean, you're not going to be alone ever. There's always somewhere there until the circle goes down. All right. Anyways, speaking of some of these other teams, we also mentioned that Icon was going to be a pretty big contender on this map, and Icon have done pretty well today. They placed relatively high. They're able to secure themselves a lot of kills. Actually, you know what? Very quickly, going to swap on over here. No Escape is right on top of Kodak.
And Icon continues to pressure Hero, who are all hiding behind that debris of a vehicle. I think it's a van. You can see that they are trying to slowly make their retreat, and I think Icon smells this. They're inching forward. Mio gets a good knock onto Vanix, and whoever gets knocked down has a very last chance, a very small chance of surviving. And somehow Iman just runs straight into Flame. Rizal is dead as well, so Rambo becomes the last man alive. Duo Barade finally got caught by Blacklist, so they will be out in 12th place. And Icon will now go in for the push. Rizal and Rambo are the last two men alive, and Flame, he has clear vision of these two guys. It's going to be an easy pickings for him. A couple of taps on the Rizal and a couple more to Rambo will do the job. Hero out. with no points to the name.
Wow. Great aim there from Flame. So already we've got 2 teams currently eliminated. Unfortunate for Duo Baradic. I was hoping that maybe they would be able to at least make it far in terms of placement points, but the team's going to end up in, I believe, 11th place. Or was it 12? I think it was 12. But let's move on over here. So this engagement between Epic and Todak, it's finally going to happen. Now, something I'm a little bit worried about here is that Epic are a little spread, whereas Todak, they are grouped up. They are close enough in case anyone gets dropped, they will be able to res them rather easily. But how are they going to approach this? Because we've got a lot of these Epic players currently sitting on the ceiling. So they do have the high ground advantage. Oh, but Coco.
Here he goes.
Coco's actually down.
Double grapple. Can he finish off Coco? The glue wall's going to buy some time, and Coco completely isolated from the rest of his team. Todak will try to finish him off first. Coco trying to crawl away to safety, but Afik will finish him off. Pedro finds the second one to Siga. Kepa also trying to run away, but Epic have been effectively cornered. Todak needs a good round, and it might just start with taking out Epic. Kepa drops down, but knocks himself instead. He was not able to break his fall, and he will fall to his death. Epic gets completely annihilated, but Todak only gets 3 points because Kepa decided to jump to his death. Nonetheless, Todak survives with the full squad. They will be able to live to fight another day.
That's going to be some valuable points for the team. Now, switching on over to a different team, we're actually looking at Freedom Rumble here, and then right next to Icon. This could be a really important fight if Freedom Rumble are able to jump into Icon, but it looks like they're able to actually get away. Although I'm a bit worried now because Icon is spread out. And they are pincered between 2 very big teams, Freedom Rumble and AKO.
And
oh my gosh, and look at No Escape. They're coming down to Freedom Rumble. What?
Oh, there we go. Icon have started firing at Freedom Rumble. And the question is, will Blacklist International take some pot shots at No Escape Umbrella? This is going to really change the dynamics. Sorry, Raw also making the entrance. Everyone is taking the launch pad. Oh, then lands right beside Blacklist International. We are going to see separate fights across the map. And I think it might start with Blacklist International engaging Sorry Roar. Yeah, and I think right now it's going to be pretty tough for AKO, for Sorry Roar to kind of take on Blacklist International if they get caught. But New Boys, he's certainly caught by AKO. Mr. D will finish him off, and Icon were not able to kind of cross that freeway. The AKO City Squad finds themselves a pretty free kill, whereas for the side of Icon, they will have to kind of slow down a bit. Surprisingly, despite so many teams landing beside each other on the radar, we are not seeing too much engagement. Sorry Raw making their way onto their watchtower, and they will have No Escape Umbrella in their sights. Those vehicles are already set ablaze. Sorry Raw should be able to get a couple of good shots. In Blacklist International, they hear all those voices and they cannot resist getting in touch, in touch with Sorry Raw and perhaps engaging them in some combat. It feels like Alien Isolation, where Blacklist International are attracted by audio kills. No Escape Umbrella though, they are scrambling to avoid those bullets. Somehow they are outrunning Sorry Raw's shots, at least for now. But you can see that they don't really have much places to go.
I'm a little bit worried here for Sorry Raw though, because the team is separated. They're currently only here with 3 players, and Blacklist are getting really, really close. Although it looks like they might know Blacklist are there. Alright, so they do have information thanks to Donkey. And are they going to actually try and contest Blacklist? Oh, this might actually turn out to be really bad.
And they have no choice but to contest Blacklist thanks to the circle. But Blacklist might have a secondary issue on their hand, and that is Todak coming in from the north side. Meanwhile, on the other end, No Escape Umbrella might have been able to dodge Sorry Roar, but Neptune from Freedom Rumble will at least knock Error down. Thankfully, no kills yet for Freedom Rumble. But because of Donkey, Phoenix now has a close eye. He's keeping a close eye on that watchtower, or at least he's going to be swapping with his buddies. Meanwhile, Freedom Rumble are pushing the occasion, trying to get rid of No Escape Umbrella and clear out Santa Catarina.
I don't think it's going to be very easy for them to get any pickoffs though, because it seems like No Escape, looking at how they're playing, it seems like it's more along the lines of self-preservation rather than trying to actually engage into Freedom Rumble. So they're going to be stuck here for a little bit, but what's the plan? I mean, are they just going to sit here the whole time? We'll check a little bit later on because we actually have another fight here. Is Todak actually jumping on top of Blacklist International?
Yeah, they did down Aliyah. They also have, I think, one of their members down. And Upfake, good shot.
Cobra.
That's going to be Cobra down. Now, can they clean him up? This is going to be crucial for Todak. And yes, they do. Upfake finishes off Cobra. That's the Wonder Boy of Blacklist International out of the equation. Todak slowly taking over some compounds of Blacklist International's area, and this is no longer safe for them. They also have to worry about Sorry Raw, who have been keeping an eye on them, particularly Donkey, watching from their watchtower. So Blacklist International are caught in a very tough spot. Ali was not able to connect those shots as well. With Todak looming into their compound, they might get overwhelmed. And Pedro does just that with the Vector Akimbo, completely annihilating Miro. You can see that Blacklist Internationals are scrambling to build up those blue walls and prevent Todak from marching in on that third floor, but that wall is not going to stand for long because Todak, they just break right through, and Ali will not stand. Phoenix on the run. They're going to chase him down like the fugitive he is, but Upfik is on the ground. Can Phoenix at least get one kill before he knocks out? He should be able to do so, and that landmine secures it. Upfik will be surrendered to Blacklist International. So Todak didn't exactly get out of this unscathed, and Phoenix is still alive. Couple of nades left in hand. He's gonna try and flush out the members of Todak from the second floor, but he can't stay here for too long because Todak, they're hunting for him. But at the same time, it feels like Todak are gonna hold on to the building for now. So Phoenix will be left out in the open with Sorry Raw right behind him.
Yeah, it seems like they can't quite figure out where he is, and he still has 3 grenades. Todak needs to be careful with their positioning. If all of them get caught with a grenade, I think that's just going to be the end of them. But all it takes is a little bit of vision. Spark will show himself. Grenade. Oh, he catches Spark.
Second one through. Spark is dead.
Oh, Todak.
Phoenix dealing so much damage, and Pedro, oh, your head is exposed. Sorry, Raw, and Too Fast is the one who cleans up Phoenix. At the end of the day, no one's the wiser in that fight. All of them suffered huge damage, and of course, there's some collaterals onto the side of Todak. Blacklist biting the shoulder end of the stick, getting knocked out, but Todak didn't exactly walk away unscathed. They also lost 2 of their members.
Man, I wonder what would have happened if Freedom Rumble didn't actually get that pick off onto Phoenix. Like, could he have been able to just slowly chip away at Todak? We'll never know, but speaking of other teams, you have No Escape actually under fire by Freedom Rumble. And so far, it looks like they're actually able to run right into them. They've got a lot of glue walls. They're pumping them down as they run forward. And Freedom Rumble, they got to get rid of No Escape very soon.
Oh! So well done from No Escape Umbrella. They are closing the distance by at such a fast pace. At Freedom Rumble, they might not be able to match the tempo of No Escape Umbrella. They have already been infiltrated. Vegeta desperately trying to hold on to dear life, but he will not stand. Neptune gets annihilated as well. Freedom Rumble completely overrun by No Escape Umbrella. A very impressive feat from this team that we thought was surely dead in the water when they went up against Freedom Rumble, but apparently that was not the case. 4 clean kills coming through for them.
And looking at this final circle as well, and Husky, it looks like it is a pretty advantageous one for only one little team. They're Metrics. They are right next to the circle. Looks like Donkey takes half of his health in damage from that grenade, and Pedro from Todak wanting to eliminate him. These teams need to figure out how they're going to get into this circle, right? Because Todak's so busy trying to go for this little pick off here. How are you going to get in there? Because look at the map. There is nothing. There is nothing that they can hide behind to get into this circle. So it's going to be free picking some Metrics.
And look at this, we have Todak, the only team who is in the lead in terms of leaderboard. They have Metrics. This is a huge drop for Metrics if they can get the Booyah. No Escape Umbrella as well. They are not really in top 12, but they can certainly spoil the party if they take some points away. Todak with 7 points, but only 2 members left in this final stage of the game. We have 9 total players alive. No Escape Umbrella with the full squad available and ready to rumble. Pedro has spotted. Chill separated from his teammate. Those grenades are starting to land through an iPad lands a Kobe onto Pedro. This should be the end of Todak, as Pedro have no way of getting any sort of assistance. Metrics also pinned down as well, as Kaz, he is slowly pumping down the bullets and wearing down the members of Metrics, as Todak is now going to be isolated, left alone. Chill, he is so far away from home. Metrics have to cross the freeway, which is pretty deadly considering how open this final circle is, but they have to try regardless. With those glue walls about to run dry soon for Riven. He only has 2 more to work with. Blues are closing in. They got to make a move right now, as No Escape Umbrella have firm grip of the center of the zone. Can they close out the round? Metrics have made it in, but can they survive? Troop is down. Cass is out as well. Raz as he gets a kill, but No Escape Umbrella still has members left alive. 3 to be exact. Metrics is out. Chill pops his head out to get at least 1 down, but it is not enough. No Escape Umbrella sticks it through and they get the booyah to close out the evening.
Ooh, what a way to end the game here for No Escape. They're going to be so happy with this as well, because this is also going to sort of get them out of that danger zone in the lower bracket. Not lower bracket, but towards the lower end of the bracket. I believe they were sitting in 11th place with about 200, was it 207?
No Escape No Escape Umbrella is actually in
I think they have a
15th
different
place.
team. 15th
11th
place.
is AKO Steady Squad. So No Escape Umbrella in 15th place with 142 points. Last we saw it, the leaderboard by the end of round 4. So technically, I would say I think they have overtaken New Gang and Duo Barade. So they might be the new
They've
contenders to
overtaken.
Metrics. Yeah.
Oh, and that's just off of 1 booyah as well. Okay, this is really interesting. Things are really getting fired up in the bottom end of the bracket. I mean, okay, top 12, like, cool. I want to know who's going to be the 12th team, because I swear every time we do these league stages, it is 12th place that is where all the action's happening.
We have seen so many times where a team that play out of their minds in the last day of the league stage just fall short of a few points,
Yeah.
to qualify for top 12, and it's really heartbreaking, right? Because for some reason, a spark lit up for the teams. They play a wonderful, day 2 of week 4, but they just couldn't make it because they had one bad round somewhere down the road. Maybe Duo Barada is facing that, and No Escape Umbrella, they are going to be the new contenders after this booyah. Now I wonder, will Metrics continue to hunt down Duo Barada if that's the case, or will they now change their priority and look at
Or
No
is it
Escape
the other way
Umbrella?
around? I think it'll be really interesting to see like what happens tomorrow, right? Because, okay, here's another thing to consider. So we're assuming that Metrics is the one that's actually doing these hot drops, right?
Yeah.
Would it be a safer play to drop on top of Duo Baradic to get points from them, assuming they think they're easy points? Or would you rather not drop on them and drop on somebody else? Because for me, I feel like Duo Baradic's kind of a safe drop for them, considering how dominant they've been in most of these skirmishes.
Yeah, I agree. I think dropping on Duo Barade, if that's the playbook, is a safer approach because you guarantee yourself some sort of
4
point.
points.
Yeah, it still comes with this risk, right? Duo Barade,
Yeah.
they can still win those fights, just that the win rate is lower for them. Metrics, they were able to make it to 3rd place at the end of this round, and they were able to get 13 points for themselves. But No Escape Umbrella had a fantastic round. 21 points, 9 kills and a booyah, followed by Todak with 16, Metrics in 3rd place with 13, Icon gets 12 for themselves, Freedom Rumble gets 8, Sorry Roar with 7, AKO Steady Squad with 5, Blacklist International and M&D Die Hard both share 5 points, Epic only gets 1, Hero and Duo Barade, they get no points at all.
Nothing at all. And I mean, we saw what happened with Duo Baradic. They got hot dropped. They weren't able to get any pickoffs at all
Yeah, it's
onto Metrics.
3 out of 4 rounds, they got 0 points, thanks to Metrics.
So, you know what? Even though No Escape were able to secure 21 points this round, I still think it's going to be a really tough ask for them to make it to top 12 because Metrics technically offset their score by 13.
Oh yeah.
So it's not an easy path. It's still possible, but I think what you mentioned earlier is absolutely true. It's going to be a massive uphill battle where Metrics need to completely drop the ball, score single digits in points and low single digits, and No Escape need to, I think on average, try and get 13, 12 points. If they can do that, then I think there is a chance that they could swipe away that 12th spot from Metrics.
And we also saw Blacklist International, in 8th place with only 5 points, right? Sure, this is their strongest map, but we are clearly seeing the shift in competition. All these other teams are stepping up their game. The closest team that we say we'll keep our eyes on is Todak, and Todak certainly have made it, made it count. Ending 2nd place. This is their best round the entire day. No booyah, unfortunately, for these guys, but 16 points is pretty impressive considering how poorly the rest of the rounds have been.
So we're going to take a look at the scores very soon, but I'm really excited to see what score line we're looking at for these teams coming into the final day, because we're probably going to have to do a little bit of math to figure out, right? Like who's going to make it to top 12, what needs to happen, who could potentially make the climb, and then just going off of what we know, we can maybe sort of guess what's going to happen. I love guessing the final days. But speaking of final day, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Here's the map recap for all of our matches from today. Round 1, Team Princess was able to secure the first booyah in Groups A versus B on Bermuda. Round 2 in Kalahari, it was Secret Expert that were able to get the booyah. Rounds 3 and 4 for Groups B versus C was the Geek Fam show on both Bermuda and Kalahari. And finally, to round out the day for rounds 5 and 6, Blacklist International capture Bermuda. And finally, for Kalahari, it is No Escape Umbrella.
Yeah, pretty eventful day, but Geek Fam once more have stolen the spotlight. Let's take a look at the overall standing as we approach the final day of the league stage tomorrow. Geek Fam again stands tall with almost a 50-point lead, 48-point lead to be exact, over Toda, who is in second place with 352, Freedom Rumble 285, and Team Princess with 278 in third and fourth respectively. Blacklist International catching up close in fifth place with 264 points. Icon and Secret Expert tied for 6th, 260 points. Epic in 8th place with 239, and Sorry Raw caps off the first page of the leaderboard in 9th place with 234.
And on the second part of the leaderboard, aka Steady Squad sitting with 216 points in 10th place. EWG occupying 11th with 207 points. And Metrics holding on to that juicy 12th spot with 197 points. And their closest competitor in 13th place, No Escape Umbrella with 163 points. There is a 34-point gap between these two teams. It is very possible for No Escape to overtake Metrics, but we will have to see in tomorrow's matches. Duo Braddock, after having a hell of a day, especially with all the hot drops from Metrics, sitting on 158 points now in 14th place. New Gang with 147 points, Devora with 134, M&D Diehard with 107, and in last place, unfortunately, is Hero with 102 points.
Yeah, and I think for Duo Barrage, they only got the last standing we saw. They only got like 7 points across the last 2 rounds, and again, thanks to Metrics, right? Like, very cool, guys, very cool. But for No Escape Umbrella, they need a miraculous day tomorrow, and they also need Metrics to completely bomb out to even have a chance, because Metrics, they might not be getting a lot of points, but they certainly are getting, steady amount of points to keep themselves afloat. The MVP for the last 2 rounds, none other than Yoon from Icon. We've talked about this man. It's either him or Mios, and today it is him.
Yep, 7 kills with 5 assists, 2,500 damage, and a 65.8% hit rate. We have a lot of massive damage dealers coming in from these teams, and something that I find that has changed with Free Fire, especially when it comes to the esports, is that we've moved away from having these single superstars, right? Like these single high damage snipers, to having a more even damage distribution around these teams. And I feel like, personally, just watching Free Fire evolve this way, I love it, because now you don't see teams sort of being stuck in a position where it's like, oh, our sniper is dead, what do we do? Now it's like, okay, even if this player goes down, my teammates are able to back me up. We're going to be able to still make it through even though we've lost this player.
Yeah, I think one of the best examples was when we first saw Blacklist International, back then known as Baby Argon. If Cobra goes down, that's it. The other run is going to be affected tremendously, right? Cobra is the guy, he's the be all end all, he's the raid boss. He's the one who gets the kills, ends the round for his team.
Eliminate the boss, and then you just have the underlings.
Yeah, he's the one-man army, right?
Mindset.
And then across the years we saw, well, not the year, across the tournaments we saw these teams evolve, and it's just great to see all of these guys actually work together and have everyone play their part. I think it's a bit, it's a better viewing experience. It's also a better commentating experience, if it makes sense. Right now you get to see everyone function like clockwork. It's like
everyone
great symphony.
Has some kind of impact, rather than just having this like one player that does everything.
Yeah, like
I still think some teams do that, but we're moving away from that, and I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, absolutely, and so am I. And guess what? We've come to the end of the second last day of the league stage. We still have one more tomorrow. It's going to be starting same time at 8 p.m. And guess what? By the end of tomorrow, we will find out our top 12 finalists. But until then, you guys just have to sleep on this for now. We'll bid you guys farewell, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time at 8 p.m. for the final day of the league stage. I'm Husky. She's Dana Lee. On behalf of everyone behind the scenes, we bid you guys good night, goodbye.
Masing-masing masih lagi belum mengalah dalam permainan kita. Kedua-dua pasukan berusaha untuk mendapatkan kemenangan. Siapakah di antara mereka peserta ataupun Mr. Wega yang akan memenangi cabaran kali ini?
Anda sedang menonton rancangan permainan Free Fire Challengers Malaysia dan kami host anda, my name is Mustachio AJ bersama dengan Haji Yat, dan untuk menggemburkan episod kepada kali ini kita ada pasukan B iaitu Geek Fam yang akan berlawan dengan Encik Wega. Jangan lupa untuk mengundi salah satu daripada 5 ganjaran milestone penonton yang bakal anda terima sekiranya para pemain menang.
Untuk kedudukan sekarang ini, Mr. Wega ketinggalan 10 mata di belakang para peserta kita. Pasukan Blacklist berusaha keras nak menang untuk round yang ketiga ini sebenarnya. Apakah perasaan Mr. Wega kita ketika ini? Mr. Wega, silakan. Saya rasa saya boleh baca apa yang dikatakan oleh Mr. Wega tu.
Man of very few words, Haji.
Ya.
Pihak lawan dia hari ni agak bersemangat juga.
Pantai.
Cabaran bagi episod ini adalah The Epic Airdrop. Airdrop amat berharga tetapi sukar diperolehi. Sambut bola oren untuk mengumpul satu mata dan elak bola putih yang akan menyebabkan satu mata ditolak.
Pasukan Geek Fam akan menentang Mr. Wega dengan tangannya diikat.
Let the game begin.
Round 1.
Yes! Jauh je.
The teamwork is absolutely solid, Haji. Mereka sedang mencuba.
Hampir di situ.
tangkapan bola yang amat bagus tetapi
Baru satu saja. Hampir. Sampai almost. Okay, two.
Okay, 2
Tiga.
Aki.
Oh,
Paksa
3,
panggil. Handicap.
2, 1.
Haji. Apa ni Haji? Terlalu senang pula.
24 mata kedudukan ketika ini semakin jauh meninggalkan Mr. Wega. Tengok macam kurang meyakinkan apa pun kita cakapkan. Good luck lah untuk Mr. Wega.
Absolutely
Kali
good
ini
luck.
giliran dia. 1, 2, 3. Aduh Mr. Wega. Tunggu Mr. Wega. Bos, Got one.
Haji, this is amazing. How is this penguin getting it done? Oh, double action, Mr. Wagger with the blue hat swagger.
3, 2, 1.
Airdrop specialist. Oh my good, Haji.
Ya.
Ni, 1, 2,
Wow.
3.
Wow.
Oh my god, 4,
Wow.
5, 6. Apa